What is going on, everybody? It is episode 205 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself for everyone, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. How are you doing today? It's Mary.
You know, it's still weird to say like 200 in the name, like when I'm doing the
Without
intro.
the pound sign in front of it?
Well, no, that too. Yes, that too. But no, like just like saying 205. I almost said 105 there. We'd be going back in time.
And it's going to happen all over again the next time.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool.
305.
If we could go back in time, that'd be cool. How you doing today?
I'm okay.
Doing
I'm
good? All right. And we have a guest host today. Would you introduce yourself, sir?
Yes, I would. I am Wesley. I am the director of Cast Castle, and I'm happy to be back.
How you doing?
I'm alive.
Yeah. So I got a fun story for everybody. Last night, I was walking downstairs, and we can talk about this, right? Because I'm not going to tell what was in it. But basically,
sure, yeah.
I was walking downstairs, as one is wont to do at work. I was going down to get something, and I see flashing red and blue lights. And I'm like,
did you have the same thought as I did?
I was like, did the cops get a cop car inside the house? How did they do that? No, I thought we were getting swatted again.
Me too.
Somehow. Yeah, were you? You did?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, well, Alex Stein's on IRL tonight. I don't know if you've heard of IRL. Do you know what that is? IRL?
It's this political show that we've got going.
Yeah.
We started it a while back.
No.
They're really great.
All I watch is reliable sources.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I see a bunch of flashing red and blue lights, and I'm like, great, swatting again. Alex Stein's here. But that's not what it was. You guys were down there working on something.
We were, yeah. We are working on something special indeed.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. We're going to talk about Charlie Cox has done a couple of interviews, and he's talking about Daredevil Born Again. And with every bit of new information that comes out, I am more and more convinced that it was better to just let it go, my friends. You should have just let it die after Netflix season 3. We will get into that, and then we are going to review Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, episode 4, entitled "The Big Wave," the Great Wave. It was a wave of some sort. It was a CGI wave.
The tsunami.
Yes, exactly. We're going to do that. We're going to talk about this particular critique of the movie The Whale, and I wanted to talk about it because it speaks to the concept of critique outside of the realm of whether the show you're watching is actually good or not, which is something I want to be able to do here. Like, put your views of something aside and give people a recommendation on whether you think it's worth watching, not based on whether you approve of the message of what you're seeing. Kind of like with our Lord of the Rings, which a lot of people, our reviews, a lot of people are not fans of that show, and we're kind of meh on the whole thing, but try to be fair about it. So we're going to get into that. But basically, this reviewer said that you shouldn't go see the movie because it's fat phobic, which is it's a whole nother can of worms. So if you guys are ready, we will just get right into it. Mary, are we ready?
We're ready.
Are we ready?
Ready.
All right. By the way, I got guest host right today, so I'm on a good path so far. With my language.
Not calling main
or
guest
like
host or
anything of like sometimes I said co-host, even though that's not the right term. Actually, I need to come up with a whole new lingo. I need to.
There are special guests.
Yes,
they're very special in our eyes.
They are all very special. They're all special to us. So we're gonna get right into it. So it says, all right. So Charlie Cox reassures the fans that Daredevil won't become a slapstick MCU character. I'm calling BS on this because he on one part of the interview says he hasn't read the script yet, so there's no way for him to know that.
Really?
Yes.
He's also said that it's going to be totally different. Yep. It has to be a season 1 and not a season 4,
yes.
Right? So I mean,
fun fact: when I was talking to Tim about this initially, he's like, they're bringing Daredevil to Charlie Cox can play Daredevil again in Disney Plus. I'm like, doesn't matter. Because it's Disney Plus, it won't be the same. They won't be allowed to hold the same tonal quality as the Netflix show did. The Netflix show was incredibly brutal, incredibly dark. I would almost guess that the first thing to go will be a heavy focus on the religious themes.
For sure.
For the character of Daredevil, Matt Murdock is a Catholic, and he's very religious, and that plays as a through line for his moral compass and his motives
Have
throughout
you heard of Catholicism?
Yeah, heard of
Okay,
it.
okay,
It's-
gotcha.
Heard of it.
It's kind of like IRL. It's this little thing.
Yeah.
Little thing.
Some people have heard of. So it says Charlie Cox will make his return as the Man Without Fear in Daredevil Born Again, marking the actor's first official entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He did have a cameo in Spider-Man: No Way Home. Even that cameo was clearly supposed to be played for laughs because it's Marvel and
I
everything.
didn't hate that though.
I'm
No,
scared
it was
for
fun.
this She-Hulk cameo they've
Yeah,
got coming up.
So they've got a cameo with him coming up there. And just the first thing that came to my mind was, first of all, they're using the name Daredevil Born Again, which is based on a very, very famous comic run from, who was it? It was, the same dude who did The Dark Knight.
Frank Miller?
Frank Miller. So it was a Frank Miller run. Of course, it's a bad start today. I can't remember.
It's okay.
That's okay. So
Wait,
it's
I have one question. Is this going to be just a cameo in She-Hulk, or is he going to be actually part of the plot?
I think
In the
it
show.
starts as one, and then
He's going to be part of a
joins.
whole episode,
Yeah.
or like multiple.
I'm not 100% sure.
Yikes.
Just based on what I've heard talk about it, so Daredevil might be a cameo, but
Matt Murdock would be more
might be a character.
heavily featured. So
Oh,
this is
no.
the other article. It says Daredevil Born Again will ignore previous series lore, according to Charlie Cox. The first thing I thought of here was the thing that made that show work was that the world felt incredibly real to me because the tone being so dark, you had to really care about those characters. And the first thing I thought of is like they're going to get rid of Deborah Ann Wool as Karen Page. They're going to get rid of Eldon Henson as Foggy. They're keeping
I don't think they
Wilson.
will.
You think they'll keep?
Yep, I think they'll keep him.
They think they'll keep him? You think
Yes.
they'll get rid of Karen Page?
Yes.
Yeah, she's a redhead, so she's gone.
Yeah.
No way they keep the redhead. That's
The
it's,
continued ginger side.
it continues
media.
on. So I think I do think that. I think that they also talk later in this interview where basically he talks about how it has to be tonally different with new stories, and like you said, a season 1, not a season 4. So using the name Born Again, I think is supposed to evoke the Frank Miller run, but it's not going to adapt that story. First of all, they
supposed
did
to be like Rebirth.
Yes, they did aspects of that run in some of the Daredevil ones, but from what I remember, the big theme of that is basically Fisk is maniacal in trying to figure out who Daredevil is and bring him down. And in this story, Karen Page, who left to become an actress, gets addicted to heroin, ends up a drug addict, and sells off the name of Daredevil for a fix, like to get a needle, and that's an incredibly dark and really, really terrifyingly hard story for them to try and adapt, and I don't think Disney will go anywhere
I don't think they'll go
that.
near it if it's heroin. Well, maybe, but it would probably be something else.
They'll make
it'll be not heroin because heroin's sensitive. So
They call it not heroin.
Yeah, it's not heroin. It's something from
Gambling?
like the Kree brought it or something. It's like Kree.
So she gets
whatever,
addicted to
An
an
alien
alien
substance.
substance.
Yeah.
I mean that would be stupid, but I can see them doing that.
Yeah.
Is the Born Again title maybe hinting that they're going to continue the religious themes in the
I
next
bet it
one?
doesn't. I bet it's just that kind of sounds like reboot.
Yeah, like we're starting the character over again.
And it's a name that they recognize.
Yes.
The thing is, I think if they want to start the character over again or start it with a new tone, then why couldn't they cast him again?
Why did they cast him again?
Why couldn't they,
Why couldn't they recast him?
cast him as someone like with someone else? That's what I mean.
Oh, because he's extremely loved as that character.
I know, but people are going to hate it no matter what, and they're going to hate it even more
They don't care.
if it looks familiar and then doesn't live up to the past.
They do not care.
Right?
They don't
Disney
care,
does not care.
I mean, at least on its face,
Yes.
they're going to hate it less if you try to brand it differently, right?
They brought Fisk back in Hawkeye, and it was extremely mediocre.
It was a different.
Yeah, it's not the
Yeah,
same thing.
no.
So it's exactly what I thought, that they're not going to.
The chill wasn't there. You know.
The scene I always reference is when he decapitates the Russian dude with the car door.
Yeah.
You're not going to see that in
I don't
Disney.
understand why though. Like they did really graphic stuff in Moon Knight. Like,
I mean, they could, but even then, it's not played for the same tone.
no, it's not. And honestly, I'm not against the idea of it at all. It would be we're looking at it as how is Marvel going to affect Daredevil, when the right way for them to approach it is, how can Daredevil affect the MCU? Like, how
Yeah.
can we bring the grounding back down a little bit, because it's so stupid right now. Like, everything sucks right now.
What would you do if you were in charge? What would you do if you were them?
If I was them, I would say, okay, let's use something like this to try to reorient our tone, or to split our tone, which seems what they're trying to do but failing, where it's like some of our stuff is dark and some of our stuff is, Ms. Marvel.
Well, that was
If you
how
want it to be all interconnected,
Right,
then how do
I
you
know,
make
but-
it make sense.
Right. I'm just saying, like, they're trying to aim for different audiences with different stuff, but with different shows and movies, but still
Not lose
live
the
in the
tone.
same universe.
They're actually losing. That's a problem that they're having right now. Is like you can't put She-Hulk in the same tonal category as as Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
Right,
in the
or
same
Moon
category
Knight.
as Wanda, as the same category as Moon Knight, and they're having trouble, or even Miss Marvel. Like those are all very clearly for different audiences,
Right.
but because it's all connected, the tone, people are carrying through what they think the tone should be to all of them, so they're getting pushback right off the bat for all of them. Because if they just weren't connected, it would be easier on its face to take them at face value.
Yeah.
I
I just think it's interesting to show the same events, because that's what real life is too. It's like the same events from different people's perspectives. So even in the original Daredevil run on Netflix, when they would talk about aliens in New York City, you never saw it, but the idea of what it felt like.
No,
to them was
they.
interesting.
I mean, I don't even know if I necessarily buy that they're connected. Like that they have never, like, I know Jeff Loeb and
he did say it,
that
He
they were
said
connected
ever since the aliens came to New York City in the first episode.
I don't buy that they ever actually looked at them as
No, they
connected.
didn't. My point is just that the different tones could work in that regard, like where you have, what is it?
Well,
like to
street level
somebody-
heroes made
Right.
more sense.
Right.
The funniest part was that they ended up ruining, out of all the things they did, their Defender series was maybe their biggest letdown next to Iron Fist.
Yeah.
But it's maybe
like
keeping street level heroes as street level heroes works, but then you get characters like a She-Hulk who could theoretically work in both tones. Right?
Well, the tonal differences between all of these different series kind of flies in the face of Marvel trying to court an audience of superfans that consume all of the content.
Yeah.
Are
They
they?
might be
Is that
over
not
that.
what they're trying to do?
They may be over it. They may be perfectly fine splintering off and saying like, "Oh, you'll enjoy this."
I don't think I think you're right. I think they want the super fans that will consume all of it regardless of, how bad or how good it is. They'll just take it.
Yeah, that's totally incompatible with making She-Hulk and Daredevil make sense in the same universe.
The best thing they could have done is recast him. Like those characters, I don't think they needed to. Like I said, if they would have been able to get commit to doing Daredevil season 4 from Netflix, but put it on Hulu so that it's not attached directly to the Disney name, which they won't do that either. They put all those shows, all those seasons of Daredevil are on Disney Plus, but they're just drastically different than everything else that they've made there, which is weird, but also makes perfect sense because they want to have ownership over all their content. So to me, he says totally different new stories. I think they change all the other characters except for Fisk.
Let's see.
We're not going to see.
Hopefully not Bullseye, because that was awesome.
I think they might.
Awesome.
He fits more in that with that tone than Fisk does, than this version than the original version of Fisk. But even the Hawkeye version of Fisk was kind of a Joker. Not a Joker, but it was tonally it didn't look right.
It was like a cartoon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, so if you could add one thing to it, if you'd keep him the same, what characters would you keep, and are there any you'd change?
Honestly, I would probably change the hand itself, because it is a little too. I'm having trouble putting into words. No, I wouldn't. I loved Daredevil, and especially the third season. That direction, I wanted to keep going that direction. So I don't know.
Are they keeping Frank Castle? They're keeping him around, right?
I hope so.
If I remember correctly, they're
so.
keeping John Bernthal as the
I haven't
Punisher.
heard. I know last I saw, he said he didn't know.
Okay.
So
well, they would be wise to get him back, but again, I don't think they want to go near that character right now.
yeah.
If you guys could decide on someone they could recast as Daredevil for the Disney series, then who would that be? Who would make more sense for something totally different? Maybe not something that matches the seriousness and darkness of the original series, but isn't totally slapstick either.
Can you think of someone?
I need a minute. Maybe by the end of the show, I'll have somebody.
Yeah, I'd have to think of that one. I'd have to think of that one
because I think that would have been the answer.
Yeah,
if you wanted to upset as few people as possible, which honestly, upsetting people and upsetting the fan base of a certain character seems to be their go-to marketing move at this point. So I don't know if that's even what they could aim to do, right?
He does point out, he goes, well, we're not going to lose the whole tone, but we're going to add a bit of levity. And I don't believe that Disney knows how to do just a bit of levity anymore. They don't.
They don't know how to differentiate the humor that appeals to adults and that appeals to children.
Well, also what they're doing now is like the shows like She-Hulk, which have all of this stuff that's like all the jokes are bad. Those used
all
to
of them come from Twitter.
Yes, and all of that used to just be like once in a while in Marvel. Now they're all of the show rather than peppered in there throughout. So you got one?
Christopher Abbott. That's who I would use.
What's he been in?
He was the main character of the what's Mr. Handsome's George Clooney's Catch-22, and he was in Girls.
Okay.
Charlie in Girls, but he was almost the Batman before Robert Pattinson came in. So, and I was like, "Ooh, that's good." At the time,
make it a cannibal and hire Armie Hammer.
Yeah,
Armie Hammer.
Let's go, Armie Hammer.
Armie Hammer.
I don't know who I would get. One of my first thoughts was David Giantoli from Grimm. I think he's about the same stature. Yeah. He might be a little bit shorter than Charlie Cox, but I like that. But Charlie Cox is great as that character, but they can't they're not willing to go darker with their tone. I will believe it when I see it. So we will see.
I don't like the suit.
The new one?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Why not?
I know that he's supposed to be yellow, but it just for some reason I'm like, yeah. Maybe I just like the old one.
Yeah.
Too much.
Well, yeah, people got attached to the original one. I didn't even like him in the suit. I liked him when he was just in the street clothes with over his head.
Yeah, that's awesome too.
That's right too. Also, it's going to be hilarious to see if they actually try to reinvent like the hallway scenes. I'm guessing they don't do that.
Probably not.
That might have been exclusive. Basically, what it was is they do single camera shot long scenes where he would beat up a bunch of people in a hallway, and then
so it's made to look like it's not edited.
In the first one, I think it actually was. In the first season, it probably was one shot because it wasn't intricately put together. It was like one shot, and the camera's basically just slowly panning backwards in one hallway. But then in the second season and then season 3, he basically comes down from the top of an apartment complex, and there's very clearly well done cuts that are made to hide where the cut is.
Same with the Punisher ones too.
Yeah,
Punisher ones were a lot more brutal, but they didn't have the same punch for some reason.
And they actually did the same thing in the later seasons of Arrow.
Yeah, I was about to say they copied it in Arrow.
The guy went on to be like a prolific director for that show, who did that. They had a really, really good one at the start of season 5. They had that one good season.
Down the stairwell.
Yeah, they had this one good season. Arrow had 2 really, really good season, a very, very middling season 3, an absolutely abysmal like it should be struck from the record books. There should never be
season 4.
Season 4 should be like
Neil. What's his face?
Neil McDonough.
Neil McDonough.
Yeah, that one should literally be like that thing in Men in Black where they make you the memory eraser. Everyone should be allowed to have season 4 of that. I just remember the gun control episode. Yeah. And then I remember there was a really, really out of place.
The specter of a gun. That's what it's called.
No.
There was a really, really out of place gun control episode. And it was just so like even like weirdo, or not weird. Okay, that's mean. Even like at that time, like the reviews that would have fallen heavily into like Access Media were like, this is weird and forced.
Yeah.
Like if they're saying it's weird and forced, it's very, very bad. And it has like that season they did Artemis and it didn't work.
Yeah, it was a very weird place.
No, Artemis was season 5.
It was a very weird place to put that episode too because it was like end of the world stakes, but hold on.
Yes.
And then gun control episode. Everybody's fine for now.
Yes.
And then back to like world is at risk. It was so weird.
And it's weird too because Neil McDonough is an amazing actor,
yes,
but he was not given anything to work with in that one.
He was still charming.
Yes.
Like still like it was like when he was on screen, you're like, okay.
And they have like Diggle's brother comes back and it's played by Eugene Bird. It's like they don't look anything alike, but it's like okay, that's fine. That season 4 was bad. Season 5 was really, really good, and then it went back. I love season 5.
That's not the Mad Dog season, is it?
No, that's it's the Prometheus season.
Oh, Prometheus. Yeah. The start of it was really good.
Yeah.
I thought it ended horribly.
The Slade Wilson reveal is fantastic in that. And at the end of the what do they call it? Penultimate. You don't get to use that word every day. The penultimate episode was really, really good. So my hope is that they can make season 4 of Daredevil good. But if it's really just going to be season 1 and I have to listen to Twitter jokes the whole time, it's 18 episodes long, which makes me even more scared. That means that they're going to they have more time to screw it up.
That's a lot these days.
Yep.
I want to know, is there any kind of legal reason that they can't just continue as a season 4?
I don't know if
or
it's
is this purely creative?
Creative, I think.
Direction.
I mean, there could be legal reasons
probably
regarding Netflix.
Writers, maybe.
Yeah. But I'm not as versed as someone could be in that aspect of Hollywood. I just knew from the beginning when they're going to care. This is going to be Daredevil. But at Disney, I'm like, no, it's not.
Here's the cynical take, but it's one I'll hope for in a good way, is that all of this is posturing. All the stuff they're talking about is it's not the same thing, so that there's never any legal ramification for continuing.
And then it ends up being tonally very similar.
Yeah. And what if it's not the same.
What of the Marvel shows?
Don't sue us.
What if the Marvel shows would have given you hope that it could have ended up like that? Moon Knight?
Moon Knight, yeah. Moon Knight, WandaVision. Well, WandaVision, everything but the last episode was, I thought, fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember. Didn't like Falcon and the Winter Soldier very much. I don't remember. Hawkeye was fine. I thought it was fine. I know a lot of people hated it.
James
but I was
Bamford was
the
name of the stunt guy who became a director for Arrow. That Bamford. It's a great name.
That is cool.
Bamford. I thought Hawkeye was fine. I was like, if he doesn't make it home by the end, I'm gonna riot.
Just people were expecting something different, I think, and I was like, this is very Shane Black. And I was like, I'm good with that.
Yeah, and plus also a lot of people were on guard because they didn't want to see Kate Bishop nerf the nerf.
I don't think she did.
No. They did. I think that if they've learned one thing, it's like you said with Galadriel, or how do they say it?
Galadriel.
I can't say it like that. It's so pretentious.
I will not.
But they've become a little bit more self-aware about not making women obscenely overpowered too quickly. They're like, see, look, she wasn't. They're like, she's really good in episode 2, not episode 1. It's fine. They still do it, but it's still
sprinkled in.
Yes, it's
not really addressed.
It's more. My hope would be that over time it becomes more artfully done, even better. But I don't really have faith that it will be able to do that. So I just hope that they bring Foggy, because I love that. You know who he is?
Yes, I do.
He's from Mighty Ducks.
He's from Mighty Ducks.
Yep.
He's from the Butterfly Effect.
Yes.
Don't you think the less characters they bring back, the better?
Probably, but
the less they have a chance to ruin, the better.
If they ruin the main character, they ruin it anyways. So I say go all out and just try. But I don't think
throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yes, but I would guess that the religious aspects go very quickly and are far less focused on, because I don't think they wouldn't want to, even if they did want to do it. The religious aspects would fly in the face of the tone that I know will not be as serious as it was in the other series, right? So
they would also do it poorly.
Yes. Oh yeah. So, but I mean, I always hate when Hollywood
any attempt Disney makes at portraying something serious in tone fails anyway.
And in general, I hate when Hollywood does religion, because you can feel the contempt that they have for it.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
But how did they accomplish that in the first place then?
What do you mean?
In the original series.
That's a great question.
If Hollywood hates religion so much, why was it such a neutral and maybe positive theme?
I don't know about positive, but it's never portrayed good or bad.
Okay.
It's just
how
is
that accomplished at Netflix?
I mean, at Netflix 2015, it was just before things got really, really bad in that superhero space.
Strangely, wasn't it it was all brought to fruition by Stephen S. Knight, the guy who did Uprising, the Pacific Rim, and I was like,
the guy who ruined Walking Dead in the middle.
Yeah, and it's like, how did you nail this? I don't know.
You get lucky sometimes.
Yeah, I guess.
You get lucky. Let's go to Super Chats.
Caper2X said, have faith in the devil, DC boy, make mine Marvel. Hi, Wesley. He said hi.
Oh, hi.
I have faith in the character of Daredevil. I have no faith in Bob Chapek in the losers over at Disney doing this properly.
Yeah. Hobbit said, chat suggests Mary is a Fed. What's your thoughts?
Thoughts? Feelings?
Thoughts on that? I mean, it's not really if I'm a Fed. It's how do you feel about the undeniable fact.
Actually, the question is,
Fed.
I mean, the term Fed is so vague. What federal agency do you could work for? You could work for the FDA for all we know.
Right.
I know the IRS has an enforcement division. That would be, in fact, if there was anybody that I would hate for you to be, it'd be like an IRS enforcement agent. That's even worse.
Yeah.
Like
who worked for HUD, maybe?
Do you remember the show Designated Survivor with Kiefer Sutherland? He was like a HUD. He ran HUD and then became the president.
He's like, okay.
Yeah.
Leah Palm said, "Will there be a PCP review of My Son Hunter?" She then added, "Correction and apologies for my Freudian slip chat. Will there be a PCC review of My Son Hunter? Sheesh."
Well, as I said here yesterday, this is not a political chat. I don't really have an interest in watching it, but we could review it.
People also suggested that we review Gutsy.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Like what was the example I said yesterday? I said I'd rather take rusty nails and poke out both of my eyes before I watch.
Or like needles.
Yeah.
Like
we're watching Lord of the Rings for you guys. Is this not enough?
I'd rather be vexed and boosted than watch Gutsy.
In both my eyeballs.
Yeah.
Porco Rosso Forever said, "After the sub-mediocre episode 3, I gave up on Rings of Estrogen. But you both are stunning and brave to continue reviewing it."
You know what? I appreciate that.
Rings of Estrogen.
I am never... Actually, the funny thing is when I saw Galadriel and Miriam, I guess. Queen better than Galadriel. That's what I'll call her. Queen better than Galadriel together talking about like going to war. I'm like, this kind of is Rings of Estrogen. It's like very clearly not
like, I'm gonna scratch your eyes out.
Oh my god.
We're gonna get into it, okay? Yeah. Waffle Sensei said, "The street level costume was awesome, but left for a huge plot hole in which he wears his mask like a blindfold, advertising to everyone that he's blind."
I mean, yeah, but you know, there's still more blind people in the world than just him, so could be any blind lawyer.
Hobbit said, "A PCP fueled review show? I'll pay to watch."
Unfortunately,
Let's do it. Can we? No.
I can't participate. I could drink caffeine while you guys do the PCP, but
we do that every day.
Yes, I don't think I can really approve of the PCP fueled Lord of the Rings review. Or no, the PCP Hunter review would be right on brand for a Hunter Biden review.
He's not such a bad guy.
Yeah, it's fine. Now that I've taken this, I really get where he's coming from. Burisma, sign me up.
Good.
Rising Underdog said, "Love Charlie Cox as Daredevil, but you know Disney is going to F it up and make it lame. Cox should leave so he'll be known and remembered as the better Daredevil." I agree with that. It would help his reputation at least.
The actor is so beloved in that role, and the same he went back to work like after Daredevil. I think he went right back to work on a show out in the UK. So it's not like he's just doing that. But I don't know if they have like if their love for what that character that he plays. I don't know if his love for that is necessarily for the same reasons that everybody else loves him. So when it doesn't work the second time around, it won't make sense to him.
What would his reasons be?
Because he finds the character complex, because he enjoys working with these people, all these reasons, right? That we wouldn't like. They can make him complex and goofy, I guess, but it won't be for the same reasons that everybody else loves it.
Okay.
I remain hopeful.
I also do not know if he is necessarily a huge fan of the comics, but
I mean, all of them will say they are.
Yeah.
So you
Well,
never know.
Did he read them?
I'm sure he read them once he got hired. But I have more respect for them when they admit that they didn't read them beforehand.
And don't claim that this character was special to you since you were 5 years old.
So much to me. It's like Kamala Harris saying she used to listen to Tupac like 2 years before a Tupac album came out. But again, this is not a political podcast.
Yep. Monkey D. Shane said, "Been seeing posts of people wanting Keke Palmer as Rouge. Thoughts?" Also, Matt Walsh take on the Matt Walsh take on the Little Mermaid and why everyone is upset was great.
A translucent mermaid. It's a fantastic idea.
2 sets of teeth.
Yeah. Matt Walsh feels like the ultimate troll to me sometimes. Like the dry humor begets that of a troll. And I like it. Like it's fine.
Needs
like,
to co-host a show with Michael Malice.
I think you can tell that he's the type of guy that can put his phone down.
Yeah, very. Like I imagine that he can look at obscene like things that are awful
and just chuckle
with an actual bemused expression.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'd kill for that beard.
Lurch685 said, "I imagine a dark Arrowverse with the CW teeny bopper BS on HBO Max. I think Stephen Amell was great as
Green Arrow.
As Green Arrow. Arsenal was great too.
Yep.
Bad writing.
I would. He gets like the comparison that I was here is that I used to hear was that he doesn't get the credit he deserves because he's so good looking.
Who?
Stephen Amell.
Oh,
because he's like handsome. So and he's on a CW show. So there's a lot of scenes that he pulls off in that show that should not have been as good as they were.
When I first started watching it, I was like, I had no idea who he was. Yeah. And I was like, did they clone Chris O'Donnell?
He has the same beard, facial hair as Chris O'Donnell, and the same like brown short cut.
Yeah.
But it kind of speaks. It's funny. I was talking to someone. You sent me an article earlier, and we may talk about it another day. About it feels like they're more focused on villains than heroes, and that was a core theme in that first season. That he like absolutely just the very first thing you see him do. Is kill a bad guy so that he can't identify him. And then they also get really good at being like really ambiguous. Like he shoots people with arrows and they stop moving, but you don't know if they're actually dead. Yeah. Like they don't actually tell you whether the person is dead or not.
They do talk about like you're killing people all the time. So,
and then he's like, "It's fine."
Yeah, they're non-lethal arrows.
And then they I don't think they ever went the whole way and used the boxing glove arrow, but I think he put an arrow into a boxing glove that then went through someone. For context, the Green Arrow has trick arrows, and that's like one of his things in the comics. And they were like, everyone's like, when is he going to finally use the boxing glove arrow? Because that was one that he uses in the comics, and they finally got a way to do it by like it's like in like a boxing ring or a boxing club or something. And am I right?
I don't remember that.
And like I think he puts an arrow through a boxing glove and it goes into someone, so it looks like he used a boxing glove arrow. But his portrayal of that, I would love to see a darker version of that, because those first two seasons of Arrow, are even the third season are fairly.
Which one is the third season?
The Ra's al Ghul. Which, by the way, I like that portrayal
of the guy.
Of the guy. That guy's like a former. He was like a rugby player, or a soccer player.
Yeah, for a rugby player.
Sorry, football. If you're them. I enjoyed that. Like in the first few episodes he's in, he looks exactly like a dork because he's just got his regular hair. And then finally, it's like the costume designer or whoever was in charge of everything. Later on, it's like maybe we should like do something with his hair, and they slicked his hair back. And it completely changes how he looks. You're like somebody was finally doing their job later on. So, I love the Josh Segarra portrayal of Prometheus.
Yeah. And he's in She-Hulk now.
Is he? Yeah. He's in demand now.
Yep.
So, yes.
He's good.
Sebastian K said the elves are taking our jobs.
Gerbs.
They took our jobs.
They took our gerbs.
Gerbs.
They are. All right. Speaking of elves, ladies and gentlemen, it is time.
It's that time.
It is that time. Because none of you want to watch it, and we don't blame you, we are here to review episode 4 of Lord of the Rings. The Rings of Power.
We're in the 4th hour.
Yes, we are.
Nothing has happened. Nothing has happened.
The name of the show is Rings of Power. I have yet to see anything really all that important involving actual rings.
Or power.
Okay? In this episode, basically, the Queen Regent Lady... Cynthia Adai Robinson, I'll just call her by her name.
Muriel.
She sees she has a vision of a flood taking out Numenor. The CGI was quite good here, actually.
Basically, she's like Galadriel's fault immediately.
Yeah.
And it really just seems like the Numenorians are just simply racist against elves for no reason.
We just don't like you guys.
What I took when I was like, what is the problem here?
The whole... the whole conflict between the Numenorians and elves is completely contrived or at the very least not explained.
Yeah, it said literally all she said was my father wanted to go back and people were not happy and it was chaos. And it's like, what? But what happened?
Yeah.
Like, and then this is a very they said, elves said type of situation.
This is going to be spoiler alerts, obviously, for any of you that care. I don't know why you would. But when Muriel's dad...
also
not really a spoiler alert because nothing happened.
Well, nothing happened.
Okay, guys, this is a weird way to... I'm done with the number ratings. I'm not doing that anymore. What I want to talk about... For me, you guys can do it all you want. One of the ways I judge shows is whether I can actually get through an episode without turning it off. I have very, very bad ADHD.
It's how many times do I look at my phone?
Okay, no, see, this is the thing. I'm both not interested enough to not stop looking at my phone, but not so disinterested that I turn it off and put on something else.
I don't know how you're able to pay any
weird,
attention.
bro.
That's what they want.
It's weird.
That's what they want.
It's literally designed to just keep you there like a freaking zombie, and you're like, Numenor, Galadriel.
We're going here, and then Galadriel's going there, and then she's going to this place. She's basically traveled the entire globe now.
Anytime Galadriel's on screen is the only time I do want to turn it off, because Galadriel sucks.
Okay, I'll admit in this
I'm
episode,
warming on her.
she actually did the girl boss thing that you've been accusing her of.
I mean,
this episode has been the worst about that.
What part of it was that? I mean, it wasn't even that. It's just she's so unlikable.
When she got into that hand-to-hand combat with the 5 guards, threw them in a cell off camera.
In like less than 2 seconds.
Off camera while Halbrand is like, don't, what's that guy's name? Farazan or whatever. He tells Farazan not to do anything, not to intervene. But they don't show any of the combat. They just show her shutting 5 guards into a cell and then looking at Farazan like a girl boss and strutting away.
She does.
And then scales the entire palace, smashes in a window, and expects to have a respectful conversation with Muriel.
Yes. Okay.
And tries to go talk to her father without her permission, who is then like
sick and dying.
But it's like, what's even the point of that?
Also, I want to point out, like, you're right.
He's really old, so he can't talk.
The self-satisfied look on her face after
was the worst.
That was very, very frustrating.
That and the strutting,
the smirk. That smirk can kick rocks.
I hated it. Like, it would be cool if she did that after actually beating those guys up on camera in a believable way.
The only story that I actually felt developed was with Durin, Disa, Durin, the King Durin, and Elrond, where they actually talk about the mining of the what's it called, the
Mithril.
Palantir. No, that was
no.
They're looking
is the
for
stone.
that
Mithril
mineral.
is the
okay. That felt like the only time the story actually
glitter.
moved. That was the only time the story actually moved forward. We even got
those scenes were actually good.
Yes, anytime Durin, Disa, and Elrond are on screen, I actually enjoy the show.
But why did Durin even think Elrond would care? Why they're mining?
He's suspicious of him. He's very suspicious.
Why would Elrond even tell anyone that they're doing dangerous mining projects? Who cares?
No. He thinks that the entire reason that they're employing them is to get to the resource. Like,
wait,
what? That the elves are just saying, like, oh, we want to hire you so that they can get to the resource.
Meaning the stuff
they think that the elves know about Mithril and want it.
Yeah, and want it. Yeah.
And
then why is he sworn to secrecy about the existence of Mithril if he thinks that the elves already know it exists?
Because he's saying they don't.
Yeah.
He's saying, like, oh, this isn't why you're here? Well, I'll tell you as long as you don't tell them, so that the thing that I'm afraid of doesn't end up happening.
And then he goes back to his dad, to the king, and says he's still suspicious of him.
Right.
By the way, there is like this recurring theme of fatherhood throughout the entire episode. Have you noticed that?
This one, that scene, all I could think of
firstly,
when I saw...
there's Adar.
Yeah.
He's like this Darth Vader figure over the orcs.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if they're kind of humanizing the orcs too much. And then there's the fatherless Theo, and then Arendir stepping in as a father-like figure in his life.
By the way,
to save the day.
Arendir and Bronwyn still have literally negative chemistry.
Literally nothing. And also, like, even when she tries to like start something, he's like, I don't care.
She looks at him like what is supposed to be longingly, and his look is supposed to be the same thing, and his look is more like, I'm longing for a cheeseburger. Or I'm longing to eat dinner.
It's sort of like if he's an android.
Yes.
And he's like confused by her emotion.
I will say that the visuals of them escaping the forest just in time that was good.
It was
the slow-mo.
I didn't like the slow-mo.
It at least worked, like with the music and stuff like that.
You didn't like the slow-mo. Interesting. Anyways.
What does that mean?
This is what I put. It is not supposed it doesn't work to make you look badass, which is why I also employed it.
Okay. Castle,
undermining.
guys.
It's undermining. Yeah, you guys have said everything that I've written down here. So
Really?
Yeah.
The Sauron.
I just was ready to go off because I didn't like
the
this
problems
episode
between
at all.
Numenor and the elves is unclear, contrived.
Yeah.
So what else didn't you like?
Well, we're kind of expected to care about all of these different subplots of people that have not endeared themselves to us at all.
No Nori.
And no Nori.
A whole
Nori
thing with
is literally
fatherhood,
the
and
only
the only one who has a father that she has to mend a relationship with.
Yep.
Yeah, Nori is the only character I consider likable that I'm invested in at all.
I disagree.
And we were not shown
Disa's my
her.
favorite character.
I like Disa.
Disa
She
is annoying.
No, she's not. She's
also,
awesome.
why
She's
is
awesome.
it that when she was lying to Elrond, we had to be reminded and shown that she was lying to Elrond, even though it was obvious, like 10 times?
But that's not Disa's fault. That's the filmmaker's fault.
I know it's not Disa's fault, but it doesn't exactly help me like the character.
I like any of the Elrond, Disa, and Durin scenes. They should have just made a show about just them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Three's Company starring Elrond,
hate
Disa,
that.
and Durin.
No.
And
The
let
guy who
them go.
plays Durin is so good.
Yeah,
too.
he is.
He's so good.
Oh, also the guy who gave the Sauron warning at the end was the only one who actually
Waldreg.
Waldreg seemed like the only one who could actually have belonged in the original Lord of the Rings.
I thought the guy that
It's like he could-
played
he just
Adar wasn't bad either, but
Benjen
he's
Stark.
only interesting because he's evil.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying that even that guy, the Waldreg guy, he took like a crash course on how to say something in an evil tone.
Yeah.
Like it was like say this, but say it evil. And it's
He's just standing there menacingly.
grabs the kid's arm for no reason. Like it's like you don't really do that.
I don't
before.
even know why the kid decided in a split second to reveal to him that he had the what is that weapon called?
The hilt?
The hilt.
Yeah, of the sword.
But it has like some name.
Oh, I don't know.
There's also
Anyway.
the what's her name? Arian.
No, it's not Arian.
Earian.
I'm saying
Earian.
Arian. I'm gonna call her Arian.
Please
I'm
don't.
calling her Arian. Okay. Her and her brother. And
Why do we care about these two
we don't.
brats?
And
They
that
also
kid,
don't look at each other like brother and sister. It's weird.
what do you mean?
Like they look at each other much more intensely. And I'm like,
I didn't
weird.
notice that. I want to point out
It's
that
like across the like.
what's the brother?
And what's this romantic subplot going on with the Aryan and this schmuck? Like,
Yeah.
what is going on?
so
Who
not like-
cares?
He's the
we
bad
also
guy.
had all the lead up to them going on a date, and then we saw none of the
Actually,
date,
that
and
guy
only
had-
her coming back from the date.
You know, for somebody in Numenor, that guy had pretty good game. That guy.
Oh yeah, real
No,
smooth.
he is the
Real
he is
smooth.
the like guy in the Hallmark movies that the woman leaves for the airport guy. That is, not as attractive.
Okay.
So it's what's the brother's name? Is that
Isildur.
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 So
Why
him-
do we care that
annoying-
Isildur and his friends are in a little like conundrum?
He's the one
Why
who
do we
cuts the
care?
ring off. Sauron, right?
annoying Isildur gets
What?
He's the one who defeats Sauron the first time.
okay.
So that's in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but like annoying
Okay.
him gets his friends kicked off the ship, and then his friends are all pissed.
And that
And
doesn't
like,
make
why
any
do we
sense
care
either.
about him and his friends though?
But it doesn't
like
make any sense. Like
showing them fighting. By the way, fighting in the same exact set that Halbrand was
Yeah.
in a fight the
well,
other
there's
episode.
only one building, place between two buildings you can fight
Cool.
in Numenor.
There's one alleyway.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
exactly one alleyway.
Listen, I will say that I strongly identify with that problem of where to put things. So.
Well, you don't have $500 million to work with.
That's true.
So
I
it's
will
a little bit different.
The CGI was pretty good for the most part, other than the dog or the wolf or whatever.
oh, that awful orc dog.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was bad.
But
I don't even understand the purpose of it.
But,
If
like,
it's
when-
so bad, just cut it out.
when they're in the main hall with me, Queen Regent.
Muriel.
Muriel. She doesn't look like a Muriel, guys. I'm sorry. She doesn't look
What
like
does she look like?
Not a Muriel. I
Okay.
don't know what she looks like.
Muriel is kind of like an old lady.
It's an old lady name. That's what I'm saying. She's too young to be a Muriel. So, like, they're in there. The CGI there looks good. Like, for the most part, I think it holds up if you're watching it. But maybe it doesn't. And the fact that they make a show that you don't want to pay attention to is the whole point. That they're like, I mean, it's kind of good, but he's going to be looking at his phone the whole time anyways. So maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. But I felt like most of it holds up. The water stuff, for the most part, holds up. I feel like if this was a lower budget, any scene involving water would be where you'd see the budget.
Where I see the budget is
Skip.
crowd scenes because all the extras are.
Make right arm
Yeah.
movement. X axis, Y axis, X axis,
And their
Y.
faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm. Which take is this?
The also is
So bad.
who's the guy that serves Muriel? The guy with the white hair.
Oh, what was
I don't
his
know, but he's
name?
terrible.
Let's say
The one who
Sorry,
compared her.
where he's like drinks on me basically to everyone. Like it's so bad. I feel like I should hate this more, but I feel like it's made like in a way where like if this was actually not a Lord of the Rings show, I would be like, this is really good.
Yeah, well, it's charming in the way that a low budget show is, but they have all the money.
Yes,
and so you're like, where did it go?
And instead, I put it on. I'm like, I just want to go watch Merlin instead,
which is way better.
Yes,
way better,
way better,
way more charming.
The conflict between Muriel and Galadriel felt like
how do you pronounce it?
I'm not Galadriel.
Oh gosh.
I can't say it.
And
also, can we talk about the accents too?
Sure.
Like, why are the orcs Australian?
Oh.
Yeah.
They're going to have their own J.K. Rowling moment.
The orcs are Australian, and then...
I thought they were like Cockney. I didn't notice.
The dwarves are Scottish. Yeah. The Harfoots are Irish. The rest is like vaguely British.
Make more Harfoots and way less Galadriel. Way more Harfoots.
Less Galadriel.
Way more...
I mean, if Galadriel were doing things in the plot rather than just moving around the globe
and annoying
talking to people and arguing with people,
I wasn't here last time. Can I ask
be
you what you guys thought of this super slow motion horse riding? Because
that was the worst part.
I hated it
out loud, and I was like, Calvin Klein.
So bad.
I saw her face,
and then the zoom in on her face. Yeah. She's like, looks deranged.
And the actress,
she has a wonderful smile. How did you do that?
Right.
She does not have a wonder. Like she looks like she's never smiled a day in her life.
No, the actress.
Like she looks like they're like it's like that. And they're like she's trying to
like it hurts.
Like she's trying to figure out how to get her face to smile. and then finally like she's like, what's happening? What is that on my face? And it's like, and they're like, film
this
that.
Feels weird.
Yes, like that scene was horrible.
I
like maybe like it's in like the director's contract. He's like every episode he gets like in this episode it was the escaping from the.
Yeah, we need something slow mo.
Really, he's like I need at least 120 frames a second. Perhaps more, and we got to have some like generic rousing music, and he's like, and I got to get one because I'm an artist. Okay, I'm an artist.
Never do it seriously. Never do the super slow mo seriously.
It was definitely a Calvin Klein ad.
Yeah.
With Johnny Depp.
Yes.
And a Jaguar.
It was so the show. Like I said, I can't say it's bad, but I can't say it's good either.
No.
It's just
this episode in particular was bad.
They do this thing where they
just
shoot
exist
in these super wides, which is not terrible, but it makes all of the actors look very marked. Like I'm saying my lines and I'm standing where I'm supposed to stand. And
when Galadriel was leaving Numenor, it was
Bronwyn,
exactly like
she's
that.
always very and trying to like make sure she's standing right for the camera, and I can
Bronwyn.
see it. Yeah, I know you do.
Just not in this episode.
I feel it, but they treat her poorly.
I don't believe Bronwyn as Theo's mom at all.
She's
not just for age reasons, but she does not even seem to relate to him in a motherly way.
No, she's more like an annoyed aunt who adopted the child.
Like,
and
hey,
get over here.
And also, I don't find the kid likable.
No,
I don't really care whether he gets captured, killed, whether he escapes. I don't care.
They should have hired.
I just don't care.
No,
also, when he went under the water in the well to hide from that orc,
that was the funniest part. Like
he came up after like 10 seconds, like
really loud,
relaxed.
Every time,
way louder than
it would have been cooler if he had just gotten up from the water, like.
Well, and every time like he would hide behind something, like there was like very clearly a person there who would be able to hear him walking.
The orcs are right there, and he's running through the grass, not even crouching.
Yes, it was bad.
And they're all like, "Look over there."
Yeah. and then of course he has.
We won't stop until he's found.
Crikey! What if one of them says crikey?
It's a biggin.
Steak on the Barbie. What if they actually get one of the orcs to say crikey?
Crikey, mate. This one's a fighter. He's like literally Steve Irwin wrestling a crocodile, except it's Theo.
His Steve Irwin's son is doing like the same stuff now. They can hire him. They could hire him. So this really is this is really the setup of power. It's like there's literally nothing. There's no rings. There's no power.
No stakes.
I heard that the digging that the dwarves are doing is not actually a risk for any reason other than the like foreshadowing of Balrogs.
Also, is that material that they're digging? Is that going to be what used to made the ring? I have no idea.
I don't know. It's what the
armor,
the chainmail that Frodo had.
Okay.
All
right. So they're like it's member berries.
I don't know. It may have something coming up. I don't know what they're doing. I don't think they do either.
It's they're just like it looks good. It's great. It's fantastic.
It's glittery.
It's glittery. Put Bronwyn. I say just put. Okay, this is what I want. I want Durin and Disa. Durin, Disa, and Elrond go to travel to Washington, like Mr. Smith goes to Washington. I want them on a cross-country journey, and then take out Bronwyn's kid, get rid of him, kick him out, gone, you're gone, and take Nori, and then take Bronwyn, and then just send them on an adventure, and they can all meet up in the middle somewhere.
I think Theo should team up with Nori. And
there you go.
They can have like a comic relief squad there with the stranger.
The kids also the fight where they you guys kicked off the ship. It's like it was just bad.
Yeah,
bad. But it's like I said, I'm like weirdly transfixed. Like I can't turn it off because I don't care enough to turn it off. But it's like, but it's not annoying enough. It's not annoying enough to have me turn it off, but I don't care enough to look at the screen. It's like they found some weird way to like hit my limbic system and just keep it on.
It's almost like curious. Like,
yeah. They're like,
what are you
watch
doing?
Time doesn't mean they're actually watching the screen. It just means that they haven't turned it off.
Right.
They figured out the
one thing I liked about just this episode is the theme of fatherhood. I think they were purposefully trying to make that the theme of the episode, just because Muriel's father was featured and the way he has been deposed from the throne there, and then also
I have that written down,
Durin's father is shown and his sort of disgraced position of power.
And Elrond talks about how he'll never live up to his dad's
father.
Yeah, it's like,
and
it's
then
about,
Adar is like this dark father.
So they got like half of an idea in for a story, and they just didn't tie it together well.
There's the mystery of why Theo's father is absent.
And then Halbrand is just over here like, I exist still, kind of.
Yeah.
I'm just still in jail.
And is he the king of the Southlands? I don't know.
We may never find out.
Why does it even matter to Galadriel?
It doesn't matter because she has the charisma of a wet blanket, and she's awful. She's literally a charisma vacuum that sucks the charisma out of every scene from everyone. Even Cynthia Addai Robinson cannot compensate in those scenes. That scene when they're like talking about war, it literally looked like two high school theater majors or theater actors talking about something where they didn't have guys to play the roles, so they just put two chicks there.
You mean when they were by the what was the orb?
Yeah, like that whole scene. That was painful.
When Galadriel was trying to act angry, she can't even act angry well.
She just looks vaguely disinterested all the time to me.
Yeah, I think she really can't nail the intensity.
Like
needed.
She looks mean in like a I'm not gonna talk to him for 10 hours to let him know I'm mad kind of mean.
Ooh,
not like
that's painfully accurate.
Yes, not like I'm actually gonna yell at you mean.
Yeah.
Which
they should have maybe if it bothered them that much, right?
That's
I don't know.
That's the stand-up thing about Cate Blanchett, right? It's just that explosion of power that she naturally radiates.
After Galadriel broke the window, why could they have done a combat scene between her and Muriel?
They should have, or would it be
instead of just cat fighting?
Or would they have asked like why the guards didn't stop her? Yeah.
Well, because she just beat them all up because she's a superhero. Just because she's
I forgot
she has super strength and super speed.
There's only two of us.
She can climb a building.
Super broad.
She's literally she's got every power.
Awful.
I'll admit, Galadriel annoyed me in this episode. But before, I didn't really have an issue with her.
The only time it felt the story moved forward was during Disa and Elrond scene. That felt like the only time we were actually making some type of headway to some type of point.
I mean, it doesn't seem like that is going anywhere either because Elrond lied about why he showed up there. He needed a favor and then denied needing a favor. He was like, just because I wanted to visit. It's been such a long time.
What if Psych, we get through 8 episodes and they're like, Psych.
See that way.
They get through the 8 episodes. Is it 8 or 9 episodes? The show?
I have no idea.
We get to episode 9, nothing's happened yet. And they're like, Psych, we got 9 more episodes. It's gonna be awful.
Let's go to super chats, I guess. Caper2X said, "Mary is the cutest Fed. Just ask a bad app."
If you were Fed, what agency would you work for?
I don't know. I wouldn't allow tax fraud.
You wouldn't allow?
Not the IRS.
Well, see, then we want you to go work for the IRS to like just let it go.
Oh, like I could destroy the IRS from the inside. That's a good idea.
Yeah, let's go.
That's a good idea, actually. Okay.
We're gonna turn you on. We're gonna make you like a double agent.
Federal agent provocateur.
Yeah.
Nathan said, "Rarely catch you live because I'm in the UK these days, but like the show, I'm an animator, storyboard artist. Very sick of working for woke studios. Appreciate you guys."
Well, maybe next year you can like storyboard a scene of Galadriel not looking like a complete loser that sucks at emoting anything other than general boredom for them. You could probably do that better.
I have been like ripping apart my sleeves this entire conversation, and I have like a pile of the tatters of it.
Oh my gosh, you are. What the hell is that about?
I don't know. I'm losing it. Okay.
Well, we had this whole episode before we started today. I kept going, everyone, it's going to be great. It's going to be great because you have to fend off if you have not negative vibes, but I hate the term vibes now. It's such an awful word now. Everyone's like vibes.
Vibes.
If you're feeling like you got a bad omen or something like that, you have to resist the urge to be superstitious and let it get to you before you go and do the show, because it can seep into your ability to emote and do your job. So you're coping with it by destroying your sweater.
Yeah, but then we get a good show.
We're getting a good show.
Hobbit said, "Spoiler alert, Numenor gets destroyed and sinks under the sea in the real lore."
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
In Atlantis.
Oh, sorry.
They could put SpongeBob in
this. Are you ready, kids?
See, what's going to happen is like now that they're talking about like, did you see that when they were talking about like Warner Brothers having Velma calling the police on LeBron James? Every one of these huge companies are going to become like weird clearinghouses. Did you see the new Space
Wesley
Jam?
doesn't look like he's ever heard this in his life.
No.
Okay. Well, Velma has a special ability in a video game. It's basically to gather evidence and then narc. So
she can call the police on someone.
And that's racist, so you can't do that.
And one of those someones is LeBron James,
because
people did not like that.
He was in Space Jam. So, and then basically, if you saw the new Space Jam, it's just a commercial for all properties Warner Brothers. It would be really funny if just in episode 8 of the Rings of Power, just Jack Reacher shows up and just beats a bunch of people up, and then Chris Pratt comes in from the Terminalist and just starts shooting people. Like that would be funny. Come on, let's go.
Walker Texas Danger said, "Spoiler alert." Oh wait, no, I already read that one.
Yes.
Potatoes for Seamus said, "What's you guys' thought on a sequel to Lord of the Rings? Will it be woke? And if anyone hasn't said it today, Brett, love the hair. LOL."
Oh, well, everyone, as long as I have this hair, there should be a requirement that at least one person tells me it looks great.
Online and in real life. You are getting
day.
Showered with compliments daily.
Is this what it's like to be a woman?
Maybe.
Showered with compliments every single day. I want to go walk down the street and get catcalled. That's what I want.
For your hair.
I can't call you every time you walk by my desk.
Fair enough. It's like I want to walk down the street and be just showered. Have you ever seen that meme where it's like women walking down the street every single day and they're just showered with praise, and it cuts to the guy? It's like the one time like an old lady complimented me at a gas station in 1999. It's like, "Oh, sweetie, you look so handsome." Or the other one's like, it's a guy
getting called baby at a diner.
Or it's a guy. Yeah, exactly. Or it's a guy. There's one. It's like a guy. He's got a coffee cup and he's looking out the window, and it says like, "Waiting for all the women my mom said I would have to fend off because I'm so handsome."
That said, "Let's get Brett to level 10 blonde."
What does a level 10 blonde look like?
I didn't know that there were levels.
Well,
I should be the expert, right?
Well, what is it in? It's in. We were talking about like when I was talking about.
There are different strengths of bleach, if that's what you mean.
And what are those labeled as? Like strengths?
10, 20, 30, 40 volume.
Thank you. Volume. Okay, in volume. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I was like what? Can it go blonder until it's just pure white, and then I look like an old guy?
Everyone will know that it's bleached, though. You won't look old.
I also didn't know the difference between bleach and dye.
Yeah. I don't think Chris did either because he got you dye.
Yep.
We can't just slap that on.
What happens
hair.
if you do that?
Nothing, I guess.
Nothing.
My hair just wouldn't change color?
Yeah.
That's really funny.
It's your hair's too dark.
Dane Font said.
Who is Dane Font?
Sounds familiar. I know this guy named Dave Font. So
I know a marketing man extraordinaire named Dave Font that works here.
He said, I'm genuinely trying to understand this plot of Rings of Power, and boy, I sure can't. Must be a good sign.
You know what? It's got nothing to do with the plot because they're not nothing's happening. Yeah.
I mean, the plot's like relatively easy to follow.
What the
It's
hell is
only
the plot?
because nothing is happening.
What is the plot?
There's no plot.
That's the thing. What if you were
There's just people arguing with each other.
If you could describe is there an end freaking goal to this show? No.
Well, they're kind of making you wait for this big battle in the Southlands.
Task that was left undone.
Okay, so we've got the orcs, we've got the Harfoots, we've got the Southlands, which is what's his name? Halbrand. We've got Galadriel, we've got Numenor. What else? Is that all of them? Oh no, it's Bronwyn. Bronwyn, and then Arondir.
You said the dwarves.
Is Bronwyn not from the Southlands?
Is she from the Southlands?
I thought that was in the Southlands.
Yeah. Okay, so is the idea that we're going to have like 5 rings or a bunch of rings at the end? They put them on like a puka shell necklace and
then dance around a fire? We're going crazy.
I don't know what
I want them to just embrace it at the end. It turns into like
rings. Get it?
Like at the end, it turns into like their version of Scary Movie. It's called like fantasy film, and it's just them doing a bunch of ridiculous stuff. Let's go.
Maybe it'll be a circus with rings of fire.
I'm curious about like the Michael Douglas elf, the one that's designing the forge.
We haven't gotten an update on the elves since Galadriel ditched them.
Well, the one that's working with Elrond, the one that looks like Michael Douglas.
Maybe they put the song "Burning Ring of Fire."
The rings, I guess.
Are we just not going to see the elves again?
I don't know.
Probably not till
the ones that went into.
They'll probably we'll see the Harfoots next episode because
they seem to think Bronwyn and Nori are irrelevant enough to switch them off with each other. It's kind of insulting.
Which is in my opinion not the best because Durin, Disa, and Elrond are the best characters. I care so little about all these characters. I'm like every time I say their name, I'm like that is the name, right? Like I don't. Arian.
Earian.
Okay. The show, man. Like I said, too dumb or not offensive enough to turn off, but not important enough to look at the screen. That is the new goal of television. Just keep you blindly watching.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they like. Maybe that I wouldn't put it past them to do like a bunch of research to be like, what is it that we can do where they're going to be like buying stuff on Amazon Prime on their phone while watching something on Amazon Prime on their screen. And then
I've probably done that before.
I definitely have.
Gross.
I like, and we're just like, and Bezos is just over here like,
my Amazon Prime packages have tape that advertises Rings of Power.
Oh yeah, yep.
And Thursday Night Football now.
Feels like my home is being invaded by Rings of Power.
It is.
I remember like a few years ago, I missed like the mass movie marketing. Like I was like, remember when the Phantom Menace was coming out? It was awesome. And now they're doing it again. I'm like.
I love the
This feels so gross.
I love like 80s, 90s, and early 2000s Instagram channels that just play like old commercials and stuff for them. And there was one the other day for Coca-Cola where Yoda is like getting it. Did you see that? Have you seen that one?
I've seen that.
Where he's like, give me your burger, and he gives him his burger. He's like, give me your fries. He's like, give me your Coke. And the guy's like, I don't want to give you my Coke. He's like, your Coke you want to give me. And that was freaking great.
Yeah, there's the Batman ones too.
Yes.
Like the Coke or Diet Coke or whatever.
And even the Keaton era had like Happy Meal toys. I still have this one where
American
it's like
Express.
I still have like it's like a Batmobile, and the top of it where the roof would be like it's like a button. You push it and the front of it shoots off for no reason. It's great.
There was a golden age of McDonald's Happy Meal toys.
My mom collected them. Had thousands of them.
There were so many good ones.
Thousands of them in
the Burger King glass era.
Yeah.
They had glasses for everything. My mom would
or
skip
like
classes.
the cups.
Yeah.
That was a big thing. Collectors collecting. I remember they had the McDonald's had or maybe it was Burger King that had the Lion King ones when the original Lion King came out, and they were all you were not even close.
Lion King was never important to me, even if I had been allowed to watch it. Yeah.
Let's go next.
Hobbit said, I'm hearing that the showmakers have parent issues.
Probably, judging by the watching this. I mean, I try to not put too much like when I watch a show and it's obscene and over the top, I try to not think like that's some writer working out their personal issues.
It could be. I don't really care though. If it's that and it's still good and entertaining, then that's a good thing.
When I rewatch the show House, right? All I can think of is just how nihilistic and pessimistic you must be of the world to see things. But it's an amalgamation of different views of how doctors see things. There's one where he talks about how basically the idea is like it's an episode of Burn Notice where he says spies spend their lives telling lies and cops spend their lives hearing them. But then when you're a doctor, it's very true that you become pessimistic. I think a lot of them become pessimistic because of the way the medical industry is here in America. But that show was unbelievably. You're very, very pessimistic about the human condition.
I want more of these stories to be about what the writers are going through, because what we're actually getting is them telling us what they think we should be going through. Like, here's your problem.
Agree.
And it's like, no, tell me what you're struggling with so I can say maybe identify with that, rather than being like, you know what's wrong with everybody but me? And it's usually something
that's
men,
profound,
right?
Wesley.
And
that might be the best
stuff.
point I've heard on this show.
Okay, thank you.
Clip that.
Ever.
But
literally ever.
But that's what preaching is, right? Like, it's telling everybody what their problem is, and I don't have that problem, and that's why Disney Plus sucks. That's why.
Well, there's part of that also because they're only allowed to tell certain types of stories these days, so they don't.
I don't think it's that they're allowed. I think that they look for those writers that do that. They're like, hey, are you a writer? They're like, no, I went to school for political science. They're like, close enough, come write our show. Yeah. And like, I have a gender studies degree. Close enough.
To me, it seems like a lot of it is the writers have their set stories, at least on network television, right? That they're allowed to tell and retell, and there's so many restrictions now as far as who you can cast for certain roles. So many restrictions now as to what you can say without getting pushback from some group or other, that you fall into these boxes all the time. I remember watching in an early season of Blind Spot. Blind Spot. They were talking about, I was like, when are we going to get a villain that's not like an evil white male in a business suit? I'm like, you made this possible by it's literally because of you, by the fact that you identified him as that is why this is a thing.
Yeah.
It will
Otherwise, it's just a bad guy.
Yeah. Because if they do cast another person as a bad guy, you're going to be mad. That's another big thing that I really hate about this stuff is when they talk about the idea that. And you know what? I'm going to save that for the next segment. So I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm gonna save that for next
There's
segment.
a thing that I've written this before, and I feel like this isn't directly an answer to that, but it's tangential, and it's just the general theory or the general accepted definition of what wokeness in media is, and it is not diversity. That is not woke. Wokeness is saying that I don't have substance, therefore I'm going to exploit diversity to pass as substance. So it's not that, like in Rings of Power or in Marvel, where they're like, we're going to change the race of this thing. That's not really what I think, for the most part, bothers people, where they're like, we're going to make the Little Mermaid not white. The idea is that we're doing that because we don't have any other take on this, or we don't have somebody who.
Have you also noticed that they can't ever point whenever this happens, right? And they say why it's because of racist trolls. Have you ever noticed that they can never point to an example of a character that hasn't been switched where the same things are said, where they're like, okay, people are like, how
do you mean a character that was already non-white?
Yes. Well, okay. So say there was another mermaid movie. We'll stay on that one. Nobody's going to complain as long as the character was actually like that from the beginning. The character was either was written that way or it's a new story. No, you never hear anybody actually make that complaint unless it's a swap.
Like, when did Tiana from Princess and the Frog ever
Never
get racial hatred online.
It's what I'm saying. You never hear, which is why the argument that they make falls flat. That the argument back that saying that it's just because you're istophobic bigot it falls flat because they never actually make that same complaint about a character that wasn't like that.
Right.
So
and but when it works, nobody complains either.
No.
You know, like for everybody, it's like they just don't like women. It's like Ridley. Sarah Connor? Do we not like them?
They don't even like even that. Like I laugh at the people that have like. There was a couple of like articles recently. I don't think it was Jezebel, but they saw that movie for the first time. Like Sarah Connor is great, Ridley is great, and we're like, and a lot of people are like, we know, like that's a thing.
That's the ones that we use as examples for YouTube.
I even think that's over the top because there have been great female characters on TV for the last 2 decades that you could call to. I feel like everyone falls into that same category of listing the ones that everybody's heard of, and we would do better to. It's like saying George, you're only handsome if you're compared to George Clooney or Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
It's like there have been like a lot of handsome people since they were in their 20s. Maybe we should come up with a new example. So.
No, you're right about that. It's just about the substance. It's, did it work or did it not work? And sometimes it works. Like the Disa character for me, like that's the one that people have been like, people are mad about this. I'm like, are they?
No.
Are they? Because I
just don't find her likable.
Right, but it's not because of the actress, right?
No.
It's because of the story.
I mean, the actress is also
annoying.
a horrible.
Right.
And actually, I like Disa in spite of the actress being annoying.
Yeah.
Right. Literally, the only female character that you've complained about is Galadriel.
Yep.
And the others, you're like, they're all awesome.
Suck Galadriel.
Yeah.
She sucks. Get rid of her. Toss her. She's out of here.
It's an improper framing of the argument. And
but that's also a response to just people strawmanning your argument and not really actually giving you a fair shake at what they're criticizing you for.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Waffle Sensei said, Mary, don't stop with the Australian orc accent, please. I'm crying.
Don't give him something.
Leave no stone unturned. We won't stop until he's found.
Say Waffle Sensei.
Waffle Sensei.
Waffles.
They have to be really nasally. Hobbit said, Mary, are you picturing your sleeves as carts?
Shopping.
I mean, did this
carts.
turn into like I have an anger at the carts? Is that what this turned into?
Like I said, my new favorite.
It's at the sign that says "Please return your cart." That's what your anger is towards, right?
Okay.
The other day, by the way, the I took a picture of myself putting a cart back, and I was going to send it to you, and it sat in the message box over the weekend, and then I was like, "Damn it!"
Send it?
I didn't send it. It made me feel. It made me sad. But I want to point out that. Now my new favorite thing is to think it's like you go home, like you're on your way home some night and you look in like a parking lot of like a Walmart next to you and there's actually carts put away and you're like, not on my watch, and you get out and you just take a couple out of the corral and then get back in your car and leave. You double park in like a handicap spot and then take a couple carts out.
I double park, but not in a handicap spot.
Sideways.
I've done that. Everything.
It's beautiful.
Only if there's extra space. If there's plenty of extra spaces, I'll double park.
Oopsie.
Whoops.
Do you ever hit people? What's that meme? It's like, oops, I'm a Capri Sun. It's the
what?
It's like the woman who's like, it's like when crystal chicks who are like really into astrology and they bump something and they say because I'm a Capri Sun. No?
Like their astrological sign is a Capri Sun.
But it's because they don't actually know what they're talking about.
Lawrence Duarte said, I want you to tell everyone Batman sucks. He can't get over his daddy's death. He fights villains such as the Penguin, who is played by Danny DeVito, rides a giant rubber ducky, and uses a gun that is shaped like an umbrella.
I'm a bigger fan of the Nolan.
I don't have a problem with anything he said.
I'm a bigger fan of the Nolan Batmans more so than Keaton, but I think that's just a generational thing because I was very young when the original Batmans came out.
The original Batman Returns was my second movie in the movie theater, so it has this like grand memory for me that I can never let go.
Yeah. Yep.
It's interesting that he wants us to tell everyone that Batman sucks.
I will say that
not him.
The Dark Knight Returns, the animated movie, is glorious, and everyone should see that at least once. That's the one where he where a lot of the premise for Batman vs Superman came from. Is when
I've read the comic. I never
he's taking on Clark, and Clark basically says to him, he's like look, he's like Batman's like trying to beat him up, and Superman obviously nothing's happening to him, but Batman's a planner, and he says Superman says, look, he's like I don't want to hurt you, and he's like if it's not me, they'll just send someone else, and Batman says, who they send after you. and that's true. It's and there's a great image of like a kind of like a George Bush. The president is very much supposed to be like George Bush. He's like we're invading this. I mean, spreading freedom to this country. Yeah. It's great.
Well, Frank Miller definitely hated Reagan.
Yeah.
Hated Reagan. But now
I mean, it would make more sense to say that was maybe it's a Reagan comparison, but at the time for the generation when the actual animated movie came out, it would have been a Bush comparison. Yeah. But we're not a political podcast.
Gold Macro said the end goal is diversity, equity, inclusion.
I think we're supposed to change that to diversity, inclusion, and equity, so that it's always spelled die.
Mm-hmm. Of Rings of Power? Is that what it means?
I think the goals of Rings. I think the goals of Rings. I literally do believe now that the day one Jeff Bezos walked in that room. He goes, "Look, I want people to turn on the show, and then I want it to gradually get so boring that they decide to open their phone and look at Amazon Prime to buy something, and then I want the show to pick up a little bit, and then I want it to slow down, and I want nothing to happen." But not so little that they don't turn it off. And by the time it's done, their heart is empty and their cart is full.
They need product placements in the show.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Bobcat said...
Heart and cart even rhyme, bro. Like.
So what do you think of karaoke? A fun way to unwind or evil noise pollution?
As long as you're not Ezra Miller.
I literally was about to beat you to the punch.
Yes.
Karaoke and dartboard.
I don't do karaoke. I'm too guarded.
Karaoke makes me want to throw chairs.
It's a group building exercise. It's for friends.
I love it.
You like karaoke?
Love it.
We are vastly different people.
I'm like a werewolf, but I turn into Ezra Miller.
You'd have to. He's pretty tall, I think. You'd have to grow.
Yeah.
You have to put some heels on or something.
Waffle Sensei said superhero Backstreet Boys Burger King toys was the GOAT.
You should say
I didn't know that was a thing.
You should say that in an Australian accent for Waffle Sensei.
Superhero Backstreet Boys Burger King toys
was the GOAT.
All
right, guys, now that we have suffered through Rings of Power, we are moving on, and we're going to talk about this. Not fascinating, but it's an article. It's kind of fascinating. It's
not fascinating. It's just tedious and annoying, like a lot of things in pop culture.
The worldview of the critic is kind of interesting to me. So it says Rolling Stone film critic warns against seeing The Whale because it reinforces the notion that fat people have brought their suffering upon themselves through lack of coping skills.
Firstly, like, do you want to see The Whale? Or are you excited?
I kind of want to see it. I mean, it's out in December, right? Like, I kind of want to see it.
Do you think we should review it?
Maybe. I mean, he got a 6-minute standing ovation.
For goodness sakes.
For goodness sakes.
They were crying.
So basically, Katie Rife, I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that right. If not, I apologize. Says that according to Rolling Stone critic Katie Rife, audiences of all body shapes and sizes should avoid seeing Brendan Fraser's return to the silver screen. Because it reinforces the notion that fat people are objects of pity who have brought their suffering upon themselves through a lack of coping skills. Director Darren Aronofsky says that the film creator behind such esoteric and surrealist psychological thrillers such as Pi and Black Swan has adapted it from a play of the same name by Samuel D. Hunter. The Whale follows the struggles of Charlie Fraser, a 600-pound man who, after years of shutting himself inside and binge eating to cope with his guilt over leaving his family for his late mistress, attempts to turn his life around, starting by reconnecting with his 17-year-old daughter. That sounds honestly fascinating to me, kind of. Like, as somebody who it wouldn't necessarily be my genre, redemption is a big thing to me, and I love the idea of redemption and the concept of redemption in storytelling.
And that's cross genres,
yes.
I think. So,
but to me, what that tells me is that Katie Rife can't look at the deeper context of what a movie means unless it absolutely falls in line with what her worldview is.
The way her tweets were worded, it sounds like she only judged this film based on the surface level of it and what it immediately made her feel and not what any of it meant or was supposed to mean.
And to be honest,
that's not what a critic does?
I can identify a little bit with that because I tend to review things based more on how a movie made me feel or how a television show made me feel than on its objective points. So I can identify with that. I think her reasoning is a bit ridiculous.
It's also
what she said is that it was triggering for her based on her personal experiences, which doesn't speak to the quality of the film.
No, and to be fair,
it's about her personal sensibilities.
I can't watch movies like heavy into drug use anymore. Like I don't watch Clockwork Orange. What's the
Requiem for a Dream?
I can't watch Requiem for a Dream anymore. I mean, even that. Like,
yeah, but what if you watched it and then you said this is a bad film because it has content in it that I find triggering?
Wait, why?
Because I have a history of addiction. So
I did not know that.
The hopelessness that movie evokes is so real to me that I can't watch it anymore. But I saw it before I had that problem, so I can watch it, or I can judge it objectively. Right. But I imagine that this is true of a lot of people. Like I imagine that a woman or a man who is a victim of some type of assault, of like sexual assault or something, probably has a hard time watching scenes in a movie or something like that because it evokes something that happened to them that's very serious, that's triggering. Something like this, I feel like if you're a movie director, or a movie critic, excuse me, maybe you need to be aware of what those particular triggers are and then try to detach even more than you normally would so that you can do your best, because it is your job to give it the most objective review possible.
Well, before seeing the film, she knew exactly the type of content that was going to be in it. So she's still using that as criteria to judge it.
Let's read the tweets.
Okay.
Let's read the tweet. So she says, I can't recommend in good conscience that fat people watch The Whale. I can't recommend that skinny people watch it either, since it reinforces the notion that fat people are objects of pity who have brought their suffering upon themselves through a lack of coping skills. But isn't the point that he overcomes it? I'm assuming.
Well, at the very least, you should recognize that if they want to tell a story of one person who is fat for whom that is true, then that shouldn't say anything about anyone else but that character.
That's the point I wanted to make, is that this is another example of they only see the world as collective groups, and that character must be an avatar for everybody in that group.
He is fat people as a group.
That was the point I wanted to come back to.
We're all circling the drain.
Basically, the idea is it's why it's funny why they talk about everything is when you change what a character looks like as a good guy, it's a testament to the entirety of that race or that gender. Yes. Whereas if you change the race or gender to a bad guy, it's a stereotype of that gender, which is not. It's an individual.
There are no individual stories.
There are no individual stories to them. That's like that. You're literally going to run out of. Well, they've already run out of the ability to be creative because they don't know how to tell stories based on individuals. You can only tell stories based on collective groups, and there's nothing more poisonous to storytelling than to focus on collectivism.
Yeah, they will never laud a movie where somebody overcomes something on their own. No, it has to be through some sort of like this person was down and out, but thankfully ABC group or a government entity.
You can't even show them go through unconventional means to overcome a problem, even if it's not done alone. Mm-hmm. If it's not done through institutions that are approved, it's not allowed to be portrayed.
Well, because if your family helps you overcome it, that's a problem because not everybody has a family.
Right.
How dare you? How dare you suggest that we all?
But government is there for everyone.
Family.
Exactly. If you overcome it on your own, you're saying you're setting unrealistic expectations that somebody else who's in a similar position. What if they can't overcome it on their own? Then that's a bad precedent that you're setting, making them feel like they need to overcome it. What used to be viewed as a virtue, which was, and by the way, they openly mocked the idea of pulling yourself up by the bootstraps and succeeding on your own because they've bought into the nihilist worldview that we're just basically meat puppets here to just exist until the climate change takes us all out, basically.
Until the sea levels rise.
So it says massive red flags for, I'm guessing the EDs means eating disorders. Eating disorders and fat phobia. The main character endures over an hour of the cruelest verbal abuse imaginable and later tries to commit suicide by food. I have dealt with bulimia and binge eating. In a binge eating disorder on and off for years and found it incredibly triggering.
What does that have to do with the movie?
A bad movie. In fact, if anything, aren't you looking to be represented on screen as somebody else who overcame similar problems in their life.
Well, here's her problem with that. She said, you can tell that no actually fat peoples were involved in the production because of a major plot point where the protagonist is dying but refuses to go to the hospital even though he has money to pay the bills.
That is insane. That conclusion is insane. As if the only reason somebody ever chose to not go to a hospital was financial and not that.
There are so many other medical issues that people avoid treatment for.
Yes.
Like
it literally is. It's somebody who cannot see the world outside the lens of what their own world experience is. And that goes to our narcissistic culture.
It's not even a take, though. This is just social cachet.
Yeah.
Like, it's virtue signal.
And then it says the movie treats this as a combination of selflessness and suicidality, never considering the very obvious reason why a 650-pound person would avoid doctors. It's called medical fat phobia, you absolute pricks.
So she's saying that the only reason that the guy would never go to a hospital is because he's afraid of being called
because of institutional fat phobia.
Yes. This is the world we live in now, and it's never I don't see this ever going away. I don't.
Like, why does she feel like she has the right to speak for everyone?
I also want to point out that even in the realms of this ridiculous review,
blue check mark.
She's still part of the I am part of the current thing, because she's like, oh, but Brendan Fraser was great in it, because right now it's very cool to be like big on Brendan Fraser. So even though she hates this movie, she has to let everyone know that she is part of the in group by complimenting Brendan Fraser.
50.01% of people believe that.
Yes.
One valid point that she could make is that they missed the mark in the tone of the movie, because she noted that the audience reacted with laughter at one of the scenes where the main character drops a key and can't pick it up.
And we don't know what the tone of it is yet, so we can't even...
We can see, like, you know, once it's out, whether it was missing the mark there or in other scenes. Tonally, was it trying to like add comic relief in some way?
It could have been something even more
there's so many
on target, where it's like they do it for a laugh, but you're supposed to feel bad after the laugh. You know, like you laugh and you're like, oh.
But there's no complexity to human emotion in these people's minds.
Right.
Perhaps her job as a reviewer for a prestigious site like Rolling Stone is to set aside her life experience and review the film based on her merits, and maybe in the conclusion add those parts of it that say, I did my best to review it in the most unbiased way possible, but due to issues that happened to be part of my everyday life, it did affect my experience, and if you have suffered from something similar, it may affect your view of the movie as well.
But that would take integrity.
So
that's what people would say a trigger warning is, but I don't think that's true, because trigger warnings aren't really about encouraging an individual person's discretion. They're about like blacklisting a movie for an entire group of people indiscriminately.
For medical fat phobia. Medical fat phobia.
Wait, what?
Well, I'm just saying because medical fat phobia.
You absolute pricks.
You absolute pricks.
I mean, you can tell that she is just fuming.
Also,
like, put down the phone.
It is interesting that she didn't call out the fact that Brendan Fraser had to wear a fat suit to do this, because that would have been the...
That would have been my
first
the
obvious criticism.
Yeah. That would have been the you know, why couldn't you get an actual 650-pound person to play this role?
Maybe because there aren't many 650-pound actors or actresses.
There's a really second time I brought up House. There's an episode of House where Pruitt Taylor Vince has to wear a fat suit because he plays like an obese character. And in that episode, he's 650 pounds, and he's like around that, and they break. And of course, because it's House, they're absolutely ruthless about this dude being overweight. But in the episode, they're looking for all the reasons he might be sick, and of course all of them are related to his weight, but he ends up dying of lung cancer. Had never smoked a day in his life. So, but that was the point of the episode, was that the character got sick, but it had nothing to do with his weight. It goes more to the nihilist and
sometimes evil things happen and it doesn't make sense, and it's not deserved.
Yep, exactly. So I just maybe we review it, maybe we don't. Yeah. But it was just a shockingly inauthentic, biased review for something that she's basically like, imagine working for Rolling Stone.
Shockingly, really?
I found it shocking in a way. Like, okay, maybe not shocking.
Movie critics are socially maladjusted and not able to detach their personal experiences from the art that they're viewing.
Then let me ask this: do we have that problem?
I hope not. I mean,
are we being fair to Lord of the Rings? The Rings.
I think we are, and that's why we actually have gotten some pushback and some hate for that, because people want to hear a takedown of it, and we're not willing to mindlessly just go against it because it's cool.
Yeah.
I hope that we don't ever do that.
I'm trying to think of the movies where I know I can't be objective. I turn off. So and we don't review because I know I can't give it an objective review. There's a couple of those, but like for the most part, I'd like to think that at the very least you can find something to like and something you even dislike. Or that you don't find enjoyable, and I think everyone should be looking to do a little bit more of that these days.
I always find myself on the wrong side of our proposed side of things when it comes to movies. Like, well, I like this, and then I get online.
What's another example?
The Last Jedi.
You like The Last Jedi?
Love The Last Jedi.
Why?
I think it's the second best Star Wars movie.
That's controversial.
I know.
That is very controversial. It is also funny how there's absolutely approved takes you can have in every group.
Yeah. I'm waiting for it.
Yeah.
We're going to hear about it.
Somebody will
don't let him back. Yeah.
Somebody's like, don't bring Wesley back. He can't come back on.
Yeah, I just I'm not going to go into The Last Jedi, I promise. But I disagree.
No, go ahead. Go into The Last Jedi.
I disagree with the attitude towards it, that because I was upset at first and then I saw it again and I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a fair shot again. And I felt differently the next time. I thought, Luke should have been there. He should have fought Kylo Ren. It's like, that's never what a Jedi was. A Jedi was somebody who literally the first lesson he learned was there are alternatives to fighting. And that's what he did. And
are you upset at them for not getting all three of them back on screen at the same time?
100%. But that's not Rian Johnson's fault. That's Disney's fault.
Rian Johnson sucks. Sorry. As a person, Rian Johnson sucks on Twitter.
You may feel that, but I love every movie he's made.
Knives Out was fine.
Knives Out was fine. Brick is great. The Brothers Bloom is great.
Let me rephrase that. Angering a fan base and antagonizing them leads to predictable consequences.
I would agree with that. And I would be like, what are you doing, man? If I knew him, I'd be like, what are you doing? Yeah. But it has nothing to do with whether the quality of his movies, as we're talking about, separating ourselves from it and saying can I judge this movie unbiased?
But in a financial sense, creating that type of controversy and being unpalatable to people affecting business means that he's not going to get his. They keep saying he's going to get his sequel trilogy. He's not going to get his sequel trilogy.
I couldn't personally give a damn if he does. I'd rather him make his own movies.
They would kick the can down the. They'll keep kicking the can down the road.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm okay with them doing that. I'm not rallying for him to get it.
Yeah.
I don't even want to watch Star Wars anymore because that has nothing to do with it.
Give me one more movie. What's another movie that you're on the opposite side of?
I like all the really pretentious art house stuff you don't like.
Oh, all the stuff I hate.
Yeah,
okay.
like The Witch and The Lighthouse and all that.
Okay,
stuff, yeah.
I like The Lighthouse.
Okay,
but
Ex Machina.
Love
that.
But that goes to taste, and that's absolutely subjective to everybody's life experience. That's fine. Subjective, not objective. Subjective, not objective. Are we getting tweets now about? Yep. There's some Last Jedi ones. Now it's going to be a whole thing about The Last Jedi. Guys, please let us know what you think about Wesley's take on The Last Jedi, and please
bring it.
He says don't be kind. He says
especially if you strongly disagree.
Yes, he says don't be gentle. Let's go super chats.
Unknown said Goldilocks Brett over Brad Pitt.
Oh, is that true? Me over Brad Pitt?
Sure.
I don't think I
think you should keep it.
I don't think I have jawline to be better looking.
I disagree. I think you have like the first thing I noticed I was like, you got the jawline and the cheekbones for the blonde hair. It's people like me with a flat profile and a receded chin that can't dye their hair blonde. Man.
I think you should keep it, Brett.
Yeah. I have I'm gonna wait until I'm gonna go back to wearing hats on Monday.
Okay.
Hats return on Monday.
Okay.
But I'm gonna keep
Hatman returns.
Hatman return. Yes. Hatman begins.
No, you were
he
here.
Returns. Yeah, yes. Yeah. So yeah, but I will keep it for at least a little bit until it grows out too much.
Okay.
How about that?
Yay. Lawrence Duarte said Avatar was the first movie I recognized as woke. It's about a man who has sex with an alien, becomes an alien, and then kills humans. He's considered a hero at the end. Rewatch that movie with today's mindset.
Well,
I thought that one was more like climate change focused than anything.
Or anti-corporation at the very least.
I don't know.
Military industrial
You
complex.
want a great
It was like a tree hugger movie.
Yeah. Either of you guys ever watched the show Leverage?
Mm-mm.
No.
Leverage was a show from Timothy Hutton in 2008.
Yeah. And with the Pink Ranger, right?
No, that was Flashpoint.
That
was Amy Jo Johnson.
Johnson,
It's got Gina Bellman, Timothy Hutton, Aldous Hodge, Aldous Hodge is like a big deal now.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Hawkman.
Yeah, exactly. I know, right?
Supernatural.
Hawkman. We're moving past that, but that's a show where the whole show is literally them like billionaires hurt the little guy in every episode. It's the most anti-billionaire show you've ever seen in your entire life, but it's glorious. It's one of the greatest shows ever made. Beth Riesgraf is in that too. But it's great because the characterization of everyone's a unique character. The humor is spot on, and the lead character has an extremely tragic backstory. The whole story for him is he used to be an insurance investigator for a big insurance company, and his son got sick, and basically the insurance company wouldn't pay for his son's treatment, and his son dies. So he becomes basically he turns not bad, but he helps this group of criminals.
Turns bad.
He helps this group of criminals make right what was done wrong to them by rich people.
Okay.
And it's the most hilariously anti. You could never make it now because it would be so on the nose that you would.
Well, it would be anti-cop and anti-rich in a different sense than it was then.
Yes,
maybe.
The rich people they're even portrayed pretty much as one-dimensional, but there's something kind of innocent about the way it was done because it was just a different time. It would feel so much more malicious if it was done now. And I know they did a continuation where they replaced Timothy Hutton because he had sexual assault allegations against him with Noah Weil from The Librarian. It's I haven't watched it and I won't watch it because it's just I don't have any faith that it would turn out good. And Aldous Hodge is only in a couple of episodes and they replaced him with a chick, so of course.
Ugh.
I know, right? Women.
Sir Rank Zero Productions said Wesley is my new favorite. I love TLJ. Also.
The Last Jedi. You have a fellow supporter.
You have my axe.
Do you think that they did Finn dirty?
Yeah.
How so? In the script writing?
It should have never been about boring Rey Skywalker. It should have been about Finn.
But every complaint lodged against the Last Jedi, I had against the Rise of Skywalker, so I don't begrudge people for being upset about how they felt about it.
I only saw the Rise of Skywalker once, and it's hilarious watching them try to please everyone.
Oh, yeah.
It's impossible. You can't make everyone happy. It's not
even a movie.
And plus, Reylos are, in fact, the weirdest people on the face. They are. They're the weirdest people on the face of the planet. It's abuse. Yeah, that's how they feel.
Hobbit said, "Please escort the guest out of the studio now."
You're gonna have to go. Yeah,
we don't have a bouncer. We need a bouncer to escort our guests out.
If we had a bouncer, what would his name be? Cedric.
Cedric. What?
Cedric the Entertainer. Cedric the Bouncer.
I mean. We'll have to workshop that.
Jerry.
Just Ben.
Ben the Bouncer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Maybe the Rascal King could be our bouncer.
Maybe the Rascal King would want to be the RK, the Rascal King, the RK Bouncer. Mm-hmm. Let's go.
Rascal King said the Rascal King is joining late, only here to say that the Rascal King is downloading the episode for the flight home.
Oh, where's the Rascal King going, I ask?
He's a man of many
much
cultures,
travel.
He's a globetrotter.
Well, when you're the Rascal King, your kingdom is worldwide, and you must travel to defend it.
To see all of his subjects.
I'd say I really appreciate your ability to pull those TV shows and names and everything. I love that. I'm like that with festival movies, but when you're
Taylor Vince.
Yeah, I was like, I know him, but I never would have pulled that name.
Which is weird because his name looks like it should be Pruitt Taylor Vance, but Vince is weird. He's a great actor though. Yeah. He played like an internal affairs cop in The Mentalist, making him the least believable cop maybe in history because he is kind of a like he never got through any type of state agency physical training. No, I'm sorry.
Flashpoint was a really good pull.
Yeah. Oh,
did you ever watch Jericho?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Isn't that funny?
With the guy from Scream.
Skeet Ulrich. Yeah.
Ulrich.
Isn't that great going back and being like, remember when Democrats used to wave the "Don't Tread on Me" flag? Like, it's so weird.
Jericho was good. So was Revolution with Billy Burke and Tracy Spiridakos, which was
Giancarlo Esposito.
Who is in general, like everyone's getting annoyed because they want him to play like Magneto, right?
Or Dr. Doom
or Professor X or something. They wanted to play one of the seminal X-Men characters where, of course, they'll have to race and gender swap. Everyone will get mad, and then everyone who gets mad will then have to go on the same dance where they go, look, he's a great actor, and then they're gonna tell you everything that he's good in because he is, and then you're gonna have to like, I'm annoyed because I'm already planning out my like equivocation. Where I'm like, okay, yes, he's great. He's great in the Breaking Bad. He's great in this. He's great in that. But then then you have to then complain about him getting cast in that role because they could give him 100 other roles where he would actually be great. But they just have no tricks.
We talked about this with Idris Elba too, where it's like, I'm not mad that he's Heimdall. I'm mad that he got shafted and didn't get to do more.
Yep. They should just bring him back for Hobbs and Shaw 2.
Yeah.
Electric Boogaloo.
That's what I was going to
Every single 2 is an Electric Boogaloo.
All of them. They all are.
Waffle Sensei said, Wesley, The Last Jedi was the worst. Now, I liked the prequels, and Ian would yell at the camera if he heard me saying it, so I'll respect your very incorrect position.
It's my favorite thing to tell people, I'm like, look, I say, look, at least you're wrong with conviction.
He said, however, the fight scene between Kylo and Rey versus the Red Guard was the second best Star Wars fight ever. Loved it.
What is the best one, then?
Oh, probably the Phantom Menace.
Johnny Derp said there are fewer gaping holes in adult film than in the plot of The Last Jedi. Cinematically impressive and bereft of any cohesion or understanding.
I will have this argument with you off sometime.
That there's have it on air.
Yeah. You're gonna argue with like 100 different people off air.
I survived 2017.
Start a Zoom call where they're all
or whatever it was.
You made it through 2018.
2018, because I came out. I was like standing my ground.
You have like you would have to understand just how hated this movie was to understand that him holding fast on that position.
I remember. I watched it and I thought it was like the most boring, forgettable thing I'd ever seen.
But you have to understand how the internet is. I mean, you understand how the internet is. Take take Gamergate, and it's almost worse than Gamergate.
No way. No,
it's because it was Star Wars. That's
yes,
why.
it's like it was
not nearly the same. Like
I would say it falls pretty good. It is now used as like a cultural touchstone. Like when they talk about Ghostbusters 2016, what they're referring to is Ghostbusters 2016 and The Last Jedi broke cinema. They did.
Yep.
Possibly.
Yep.
Bad App said, I thought Finn and Poe were going to be gay lovers.
Bow chicka wow wow.
Did you really?
Okay, I need to know what you think of what's her name with the line, the crappy character that nobody liked.
Oh, Rose.
Rose. Yeah. The line about like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What is it?
Say for what we love, not fight what we hate, whatever. Yeah, no, it's terrible. No, like I will straight up say that there are things in it that I think are terrible. I also think he has a weird sense of humor. Like, especially in that, like the BB-8 stuff's like, get the F out of here with that. The whole Casino Planet, cool idea, didn't work. Yep. But the themes of the movie I appreciate. The cinematography of the movie, the storytelling of it. And like a lot of people's problems with stuff like this is like, this character should have done that. I hate storytelling like that unless it's a real story. But if you're doing something like this, which is like a morality tale, a parable, or it's something larger, people do things based on what the filmmaker is trying to communicate. I was telling a friend of mine this. He's writing a story, and he was like, what should this character do? I was like, what message are you trying to send?
Yeah.
And that's what that person should do. And he was like, maybe he's struggling with alcoholism. Okay, how would somebody in that position act? And then people look at it and go, well, it would have been cooler if they did this. And
it would have been cooler if you did.
It would have been cooler if you did.
Exactly.
But I hate that where it's like, this would have been the cooler thing. Or like, why don't they just talk to each other? Have you ever been alive and had a disagreement with somebody? It's weird to talk to them after. Like, maybe you have pride, you know?
I do take issue with like sometimes the way in which people resolve, like, I've never had in the real world a thing where you like argue with someone and then you both come back and say, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. That's not usually how that works.
That happens on TV so
often. That's a TV trope. That's like, I get it. That's like, and I actually made a comment one time where I said like, that's like something that the internet prevents from ever being a thing. Like, because there's transcript, you'll never see two people be like, I'm sorry, because they can just scroll up to the messages and remember how mad they were when they read that message the first time.
Well, it's also about who's watching.
Yeah. Or the other trope, it's when somebody could like easily stop something from happening, but they don't say it even though they're right there. It's like I'm going on an adventure, and there's like all he has to say is like, you don't have to go. It doesn't. I can't even think of one off the top of my head. Yeah. But basically, the idea is like, he's right there. He could tell you what needs to be said, but he just decides, nope, for the sake of drama, I'm not going to say this, and then that begets the whole story.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to have that, or sometimes that is what the story's about. In the case of Last Jedi, why didn't you just tell them? Blah, blah, blah? Why didn't they just talk about it? It's like, that's the point.
Even in the Rings of Power, when he's like, when he talks about it, when Arondir talks about. Like, I wish I would have gotten a chance to speak to my dad again. I felt it would have been more realistic if he would have went in there and been like, Dad, I'm sorry. And Dad's like, shut the up. Thank you.
That was perfect timing.
You know what I mean? Like, it felt like it didn't feel real. Like the
Shut
dad,
the F up with air horns.
Like
take that, Dad.
Well, he's like he talks about his dad like he has a hard time connecting with his dad. So why is his dad now all of a sudden like, oh, I love you? Like, he doesn't say I love you, son, but he's basically like his dad comes around and says you don't need to apologize. Like, that doesn't seem like anything that would have.
Sorry.
If you guys could have seen that.
I wish that you could have. That was like the smallest money gun.
One little bill came out. It was. I swear this never happened to me. It's the first time, I swear.
Lawrence Duarte said your bouncer's name would be Lawrence Duarte.
Even if their name isn't Lawrence Duarte.
It's still Lawrence Duarte.
It's a mantle. It's not a name. It's a mantle. Spider-Man is not a mantle. Batman is not a mantle. Superman is not a mantle. It's a frickin' person. Shut up.
Damn. Waffle Sensei said Finn not crashing into the laser was the worst thing. Would have been an actual real story arc of the stormtrooper who only wants to run, finally turning around and dying to protect what he loves.
Don't disagree, but I'm willing to bet that there was a stipulation that you can't kill Finn.
See, but I wanna. It's like, you know, their obsession is always to like make these side stories for the TV shows. Yeah. I want a Stormtrooper Firearms Academy show. Where it shows them doing laser training for their blasters, and none of them hit the mark ever. Let's go.
Realistic police training.
Yeah, basically.
Pew pew.
Where they go through obstacle courses.
Yeah.
Or something. Caper2X said, but why the hat, Brett? I hope you outgrew the need for it this week. We can't sell the PCC Pokemon to Cuter Shapiro with that attitude.
I'm assuming.
Are we still talking about Abigail Shapiro?
Must be certainly not Brett Cooper.
Brett Cooper. That's what I assumed.
Hat is part of my identity. It's how I identify. I identify as a hat wearer. So.
And frankly, you're triggered.
I'm a bit offended right now. So.
Rascal King said the Rascal King used to be a bouncer and is going home to Las Cruces, New Mexico. That's a lot of exclamation.
That's my favorite part of the Rascal King's super chats is all the exclamation marks, and that's awesome. Like maybe we'll name the bouncer Las Cruces. There you go. It's a callback to the Rascal King.
Right.
The King Rascal.
And people wonder, like, what does it mean?
Yeah, they'll have no idea.
Lane said, either Wesley has no idea what he's talking about and doesn't understand logical consistency, or he's super chat baiting. Either way, here's my $5.
No.
At least you have a sense of humor about it.
Me? Who? Them?
The super chatter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
what is your answer? Rebuttal, please.
Oh, no.
You don't need to have a rebuttal.
Yeah, I don't
He's like, I don't know you nothing.
Yeah, I don't.
It's not really an argument.
No.
Waffle Sensei said...
Attack on my character. I won't stand for it.
Waffle Sensei said, no, I would say Duel of the Heroes from Revenge was the best, but Duel of the Fates from Phantom is probably third.
Hmm?
Thoughts on that?
Which one's Duel of the Heroes? Is that Obi-Wan? Because he's not a hero.
I would expect you to know this more than me.
I hate Revenge of the Sith.
Lane said, your honesty is appreciated, but your reality is disgusting. Shane Cashman.
That was one of Shane's best quotes.
Love it.
We need that on a shirt.
Yeah, we
or
do.
a mug.
Oh, I thought he super chatted it.
No, that Shane Cashman said that on the show, but he's probably saying that in relation to your love of The Last Jedi.
Spikes D said, The Last Jedi, perfect example of woke teardown of white men.
Disagree.
Also, I want to point out...
Oscar Isaac's not a white man, so I don't know.
Also, I want to point out that, like, to me, I have an easier time separating art from artist from the actors than I do from the writers and the directors.
I can understand that as
well. Like, because their worldview will be more enveloped in the storytelling than that of the actor.
Maybe I'll do a special video just about why I don't hate The Last
Jedi. A whole Cast Castle episode of everyone here.
No, not Cast Castle.
No, a whole Cast Castle episode where everyone finds that out and you're just banished to the like. Just
called
to
The Last Podcast.
Yeah. He's already been imprisoned in Cast Castle.
Like,
true.
So
and wore a dress.
Can it get any worse?
Like
for Wesley?
They lock you in the under the mini ramp. When they find out of your love for...
Now I'm waiting for a super chat that says, like, loves The Last Jedi and wore a dress, starting to see a pattern.
Hobbit said, parodying a quote from the show for Wesley, I appreciate your honesty even if I find it repulsive. I believe it was the first episode carts came up.
Makes perfect sense. Well,
who said that one?
It was probably whoever the guest was. It was probably Shane.
Maybe, yeah.
All I know is, like, a lot of times people are like they'll like tell me stuff we've said on the show, and we just talk like.
We have no memory of what happens on the show.
It's probably a weird form of PTSD. I don't remember it after
then
the
we
show's
would be able to relive it sometimes.
Daily fever dreams.
Like, like every day, like I come home and like I get off work and I'm just like, what did I say on the show today? I'm sure it was deep and evocative.
Weirdly, like, I've never had a dream about doing the show or anything going wrong with the show.
I haven't either.
Nothing.
No, I mean, the show's good. Like, I get a little bit of anxiety, like, right before we go live because I'm just waiting for the day when everything blows up and
blows up.
Like the computer literally sparks fly.
Ejectocito.
Yeah, cuz. Ejectocito, cuz.
Darth Doza said I hated The Last Jedi, but 91.872% of my hatred comes from the story being told was not consistent with previous movies, in my opinion. If they would have called it Star Battle The Last Jedi, I would have liked it much more. Predator 1 over Predator 2.
I would agree with that. I mean, there's something to be said about like the logical inconsistencies of Luke's character, but
I don't see any.
Again, there's like
talk about it.
You can quibble about. Yeah. Yep.
Waffle Sensei said Duel of the Heroes is the official name of Obi-Wan versus Anakin. Duel of the Fates is the official name of Obi-Wan Qui-Gon versus Maul. This Star Wars argument is costing me my lunch money.
Just for that, I feel like you should have to read that whole one in an Australian accent.
Why me?
Because
you try.
You do the good Australian accent.
Am I that good at it?
They don't want me. They want you in an Australian accent. With an Australian accent, they do.
Now the pressure is building.
Well, maybe if we get a shorter one later.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna move on, guys. We're gonna go to Podluck, and we got some fun in Podluck today. We're gonna keep it light. So it says Grimes goes creationist, stealing Elon Musk's troll thunder. Do you think that's what she's doing?
Yeah.
Is that what she's attempting to do and
troll?
failing to do?
Troll?
I think so, maybe. But also, like
I said, she looks like in this photo, she looks like a weird mix of Miley Cyrus and Adrienne Padalecki.
I'm sure that Grimes has some unconventional views about the world and about how it began.
She looks like she would ask you to do BDSM and then get mad at the way you do it. She does. She looks mean.
Do you have like personal experience with that? That's like very specific.
No comment.
I was hoping he would say, she looks like she'd ask you to do BDSM and then get mad at the way I do it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you.
Those are hopes, not hopes, not experience.
So to explain, creationism is a belief that a lot of Christians have that the Earth is like 4,000 to 6,000 years old, based on a literal interpretation of the creation account in Genesis.
It's newer creationism.
What do you mean?
Like, even if you think it's millions of years old, creationism still believes that God created it.
Well, young Earth creationism is what I'm referring
entirely.
to.
Okay,
Yeah. And I was actually taught this in school, so it was interesting to see.
At Catholic school?
No, I went to Protestant school. But she claims that the Earth is only 4,000 years old and that dinosaurs were planted by God to confuse us. I don't know why God would want to confuse us.
God's like,
I don't even call that a troll. It's just a dumb comment that somehow got a news article.
She also polled her followers a few weeks ago asking if she should convert to Greco-Roman polytheism or ancient Egyptian polytheism. So which one is more transhumanist?
Who's taking care of the kids while she does this? I ask you.
Religion is the same as outfits you try on at Kohl's. That's what she's like, which one looks good on me?
I also like the idea
She's
of
window
Grimes.
shopping.
I like the idea of Grimes shopping at Kohl's just for the hell of it.
I wonder where she shops.
Aries or Thoth? Aries or Thoth? Like,
I'm more of an Aries.
Yeah. Zeus or Horus?
She said that she's almost finished developing an experimental polytheistic religion of her own.
Oh, she's making her own religion.
I think she's going to try to become like the female Jared Leto and start her own cult.
Shoot higher.
Shoot higher than the female Jared Leto.
Yeah.
She's more like the female Ezra Miller.
Really? I don't think she's that bad of a person.
No. I'm just talking about level. Like
level
Jared
of
Leto's,
delusion?
Actually has an island. Like, he's at least giving it a go.
Ezra Miller has like a couple of women that are like scared to leave him.
The thing about Ezra Miller is he seems actually genuinely convicted in his strange beliefs about like the cosmic realities underlying all of his interactions, like saying that he's a ruler of planets and all of this stuff. He seems a lot more aware of the spiritual realm than Grimes, and Grimes is more of like a sly businesswoman.
True.
But
which is also what Jared Leto is, a sly businesswoman.
A sly businesswoman.
No, a sly business person.
I mean, he could pass as one.
I think that Jared Leto is an Eternal.
Really?
Yeah, because he doesn't age, and he's like, I'm going to be a rock star for a while. Now I'm going to be an actor. Well,
he's going to age eventually.
Yeah.
I have a whole coffee table book, by the way, on why Jared Leto is actually the Antichrist.
Possibly.
I think I saw that.
Yeah. Everyone's
somebody
seen
here
it.
had it.
Yeah.
I'd buy it.
Okay.
The book and the theory.
Yeah.
Let's get an Ezra Grimes cult together. They can start their own.
Ezra Grimes?
Ezra Grimes. Yeah. Grimesra.
Well, could they lead it together, or would one of them have to overtake the other?
I don't know. Ezra Miller seems to hate women. So.
She wins, but like every time he gets mad, she starts playing karaoke. And like
then he just absolutely
loses his stuff.
Throws a chair.
Yeah, throws a chair. Like it's the cult of chairs, and there's just no chairs anywhere. It's the anti-chairs, and everyone has to stand and pledge their loyalty to Ezra Miller and Grimes. I'm down. Let's go.
Are you going to join?
I'll join.
It?
Yeah, let's go.
I might join Grimes's cult, but not Ezra Miller's. Either way, there are babies involved, so questionable. It is a good question.
Perks.
Like, what's going on with your children while you're tweeting about?
Oh my god!
Like
she's like holding the child in one arm and tweeting.
She has two now. She had a surrogate baby with Elon after they were already divorced.
She pays like Elon pays for like a person to sit there in front of her and tweet so she can see it as it's being done.
Do you remember what the name of the second baby was?
Y equals mx plus b. I don't know. I don't forget.
Equals MC squared.
E equals MC squared.
Something like that.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
Texas and a dollar sign.
Yeah, like it's something like that. It's like pi, the golden ratio, or the sorry, what's the golden ratio?
I don't know, the Fibonacci sequence.
Yeah, name the kid Fibonacci. Oh my god.
I also wanted to explore the idea that Dave Font brought up with us earlier, that we're actually on a flat Earth that's on
a turtle.
Yes. A giant floating cosmic turtle.
That's awesome.
And
we could name the turtle the Rascal King.
It's the Rascal King. It was the Rascal King.
The Turtle
along.
King.
No, it's the Rascal Flat Earth.
Oh my god.
Rascal Flats. Let's
yes.
go.
Two T's.
Yeah,
Rascal Flat Earth.
Yeah.
Flat
Earth.
Let's
theory.
go. I'm down.
It's not a theory. It's a fact.
This is why I'm here.
This is why we pay
Rascal
you.
Flats and Hat Man.
This is why we pay you
in
the
money.
big bucks.
Yeah. There you go.
Here on Pop Culture
There you
Crisis.
go. Right there.
Strong endorsement.
Also, I read an article. There was like something like about the Dixie Chicks, and I was like, "Aren't they not the Dixie Chicks anymore?" And right there,
they're just the chicks.
As the article starts, it says, "Who are no longer the Dixie Chicks, but are now just the Chicks." It's like their own like abbreviation, like.
But you need to call them the respectable women.
Yes.
Because chicks is bad.
Well, broads. We're bringing broads back in 2022.
They're just the broads.
The Dixie broads. I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke.
The not Dixie, not chicks.
So, okay.
Are neither Dixie nor chick. They are women.
Which, so if you had to choose Ezra, Grimes, Jared Leto, Jim Jones, I'm just going to list them all. Who are the other ones?
I picked Grimes.
Who ran Heaven's Gate?
Oh, what was
L.
his
Ron
name?
Hubbard?
No, his name. He's like a
what
weird.
was his name? We were just talking
guy.
about Heaven's Gate the other day.
Heaven's
actually.
Gate is. I literally saw.
You live to see this, so you should know this.
But here's the thing: I saw when I was looking into it. Somebody wrote
Bernie Nettles.
Bernie Nettles.
Bernie Nettles.
Somebody wrote in a thing like Heaven's Gate is a vibe.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa. I mean, certainly it's a vibe. I don't know if it's a good vibe.
I'm sorry,
but
Bonnie Nettles.
Bonnie Nettles. Okay, but that one had to do with
Applewhite?
That one had to do
Marshall
with
Applewhite,
aliens. So I feel like that one falls more in line with Elon. Aliens.
I mean, Grimes has kind of an alien transhumanist vibe.
I saw that Anne Hesh described her sexuality as alien before her passing, like in her book.
What?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Hybrids.
Yeah, basically.
I picked Grimes because she has better music.
Definitely.
Did you see that they're making a Blade Runner 2099 Amazon show?
49.
No, they're calling it 2099.
2099?
As it's in continuation after 2049.
I thought that was a joke.
No. You see that?
I did see that.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm sure.
What?
It's gonna be fantastic. Amazon is so hit and miss with it's so weird. Anything they make that's like not popular enough to be meddled with does good, like Reacher and The Terminalist. They're like, nobody gives a crap about that. We'll make it and we'll leave it alone. But then as soon as it's sci-fi or something that the culture actually cares about, then you're screwed because they got to meddle with it.
Yeah, they have a certain vendetta against fantasy and sci-fi, especially.
Did they do the box delivery promos for The Terminalist?
Oh, I don't
Amazon?
know. Oh,
No?
maybe. I mean, they did.
For
there
The
was a lot of
Terminalist.
media advertising. I
Was
saw,
there?
I IMDb a lot, and there was a lot of
That's
stuff
true,
on IMDb with pictures.
I just
of
say,
the
I
Terminalist.
heard more people being like, I like this. Than any of,
I'm telling you,
this show.
crossover.
Yeah.
The rings are it's just the character from the
If
Terminalist.
it's fan fiction, just go all in.
And
The
he
elves are just the CIA.
He has to go down a list and eliminate all these groups so that he and then he throws the rings into the.
It's the bad guy's CIA run.
Yeah.
We need to physically see the rings.
To be
I
fair,
was going to make a joke that Waldreg is Sauronon.
oh, so it's a Q thing now.
Yeah, it's a Q
okay,
thing.
it's a Q thing.
Okay.
It's like no,
It's
okay.
the storm. We're supposed to be here waiting for him.
And then Donald Trump rolls in on a unicorn with a sword
Yeah.
and a kilt.
That sigil that Galadriel's obsessed with is actually just Q.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. See, that's the thing. The thing about Hollywood is you could make 20 years from now, somebody could make that comment. Like somebody who worked in the shows, and what it really meant was this. And you have no way of frickin' proving
Right.
that. It's completely unprovable.
Yeah.
Let's do Johnny Depp. We were right.
I mean, we were the only ones who predicted
Nobody
this.
else would have guessed this.
This is why you guys watch Pop Culture Crisis, because you get a special insight
Into just
and impeccable predictions about pop culture before it happens.
Can you imagine?
You can't get this from anywhere else.
So we had a because me and Mary are so smart, we had this idea that they would turn the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial into a movie Can you believe it?
Mm-hmm. And we even specifically said a TV movie, didn't we?
Yes. Well, that part actually, I mean, it's still like, I don't think they'd put this in
Too fresh?
Too fresh. I think they could have put
you gotta at least wait for Aquaman
make a Hallmark movie out of it. Make a Hallmark movie. They get together at the end and they fall back in love.
Right.
Let's go.
It's called Hot Take.
Yep.
The Depp Heard Trial. It's going to debut on Tubi for free. Maybe we should review it.
Also, I want to point out that they did Amber Heard dirty.
Yourself?
They show a picture. They show a picture of the guy and the girl who are playing Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, and Amber Heard is so much prettier than this picture shows
Neither
her to
of
be.
these actors really flatter the person that they play.
They both look very angular.
They don't even really
Their
have
faces
any
are much wider, and then the
resemblance.
two people playing them's faces are much narrower.
They look like elbows.
The actress is
Maybe they're gonna film it
intentionally like chosen because she looks evil, like stereotypically evil. She
She's
has
got the sunken cheeks.
the very sunken cheekbones
What
and
did
the
you
long
say?
face.
What did you say earlier? She has a Maleficent vibe to her.
Yeah, she looks like
absolutely
Maleficent.
does.
Yeah, man.
She does.
She looks like a villain.
What if they got Angelina Jolie to play Amber Heard?
Why didn't they
That'd be
get
funny.
like if they're gonna get TV actors for The Rings of Power? Why didn't they get people that looked so? These people are so severe looking and gaunt. Not gaunt. What is it? Sort of gaunt. But,
She looks kind of gaunt. He looks just angular.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the people that we have in Rings of Power are all like just like regular looking people. It's
Like you would see them in a Walmart.
That
whatever.
guy would be better off playing Gabriel Macht in a movie if they made a movie about the guy he's the guy who played Harvey from Suits. No, just me. All right, never mind.
It's literally just you.
It's just me.
Do you want to review this?
Kind of, yeah. It's a movie.
I seriously
it's,
would
it's
review
Tubi.
it.
We're gonna have to deal.
Let
with
us know, guys.
We're gonna have to deal with commercials.
He looks just
People
like a
are already
very
trashing
mature
it.
child.
Yeah.
This guy.
The AV says that it's garbage fire. How do you know it's going to be that bad? It could be good.
If by garbage fire they say that like the trial wasn't garbage fire.
Well, another thing that I
hope
wish
they do this trial justice.
I wish they casted for the same age. Like these people both look like they're younger
Mid-30s,
than. I mean, mainly Johnny Depp.
The guy is
Should be
definitely
an
not
older
old enough to
guy.
play Johnny
They look
Depp.
exactly the same age.
Yep.
And I also was thinking that they were just going to dramatize it with different names, but it literally is going to be playing them.
I have to look up whoever this lady is that's playing Camille Vasquez. Melissa Marty?
Oh, interesting. I hope that what comes out of this is another defamation trial, because we've been seeing defamation trials out of like fictional stories lately.
Sorry, but Camille Vasquez is actually this girl could play Meghan Markle maybe, but not
She doesn't look like Meghan Markle. She looks more like Camille Vasquez.
doesn't look like Camille
Tiffany
Vasquez
Smith
to me.
played Meghan Markle.
Huh?
But also, like,
One of the
maybe none of them
Schmodowners?
do.
Played Meghan Markle in the movie.
That's amazing.
None of them are going to look like the real person.
They wouldn't be able to.
But maybe that's why they should have fictionalized it. Like, I don't know how I
just
feel
do
about
it.
them just calling it what it is.
So we will have to see how this movie comes out, but I think we should review it.
I do too.
I'm making the executive decision right now. We're going to review it. I will even put up with commercials to
Are
review
we
it.
ever getting a Rittenhouse trial movie?
Oh, no.
Because they lost.
I mean, that's way too politicized.
But they
At
lost.
least this is going to, like, go
Yeah.
untouched, and it's...
Yeah, but it's because they lost, right?
What do you mean?
Like they would have made that movie if they won.
Maybe.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Down the line, maybe.
We'll see.
Down the
I
line.
hope not.
All right, we got one more, and we got Ice-T.
I love this story.
Go for it.
Ice-T says rappers in LA can't wear jewelry out and about anymore because it's just not safe. There's too much crime. It's not safe for ballers out there anymore.
What is Styx Hexenhammer always call it NIMBYism? He's like he wants to say it's like they want these things to happen but not in their backyard.
Oh, right.
Yeah. That's what
Or
it is.
also they want to be able to represent certain things with their music but not live it anymore.
Well, just also it's like the Martha's Vineyard thing that's going on right now. It's like the memes have been absolutely glorious about Martha's Vineyard this week. It's been hilarious.
So all these guys are in Chris's union?
Yeah.
So
No, but they have real chains.
do you
Ice-T
imply?
said, "I'm done explaining LA gang culture. MFs will not listen. It's not a game. ... at all.
And we had a rapper die this week. It's like it happens
almost every week.
It's a very real thing.
Someone else.
I was trying to explain to someone what happened that time we did the story about the guy who like had the funeral and they stood him up in the.
Wait, what?
It was a rapper and he was killed and they had his funeral in a nightclub and they like literally.
I got confused.
Yeah,
what
I can't
you meant
remember
by
his
stood
name.
him up. I thought you meant like someone got stood up at a.
No,
funeral.
they stood up his corpse.
So they like propped
him up. Yeah.
This rapper's corpse in a nightclub, and it was extremely controversial because he did not even request that to happen.
I forget his name, but yeah, I remember listening to his stuff, and it was actually not that bad. Like, and then like, yeah.
Brutal. It's unfortunate.
So
he said, people are still hitting me up about my comments about LA gang culture. If you notice, LA rappers don't wear a lot of jewelry. Me, Snoop, Cube, Dre, Game, Kendrick, the list goes on. It's not because we're broke. LA is just a dangerous place, rapper or not. Why test the streets? He said that's on certain occasions. There was a picture someone used as a rebuttal. That's on certain occasions when you're ready for whatever. I have big jewelry too, but you don't wake up every day and put it on to go down the block. As I said before, challenge the hood. Somebody's gonna catch that fade.
Yep. It's the, maybe they need to look into.
I love Ice-T's Twitter so much.
I think like he should. He's like vote red in November so that you can start wearing jewelry again. That's his like. He's like make LA jewelry again. Like make LA iced again.
Make LA gangster again.
Yeah, let's go. Like, and then that's their platform for voting red in November.
I'd love to hear Ice-T's take on what we were talking about.
We are so close to
the other day with Law and Order and how it portrays law enforcement in a positive but arguably inaccurate light.
Oh, I mean, it'll never be accurate because what? What's so funny?
Nothing.
What's so funny?
I'll wait for it. It's coming.
Okay.
In the super chat.
You don't.
I saw it by accident.
Yeah, you don't like you're never gonna tell great stories and be accurate. It's just not how storytelling works.
Yeah. Another thing that came to mind from the Whale reviewer was that she seemed to ascribe all of the evil that happens to a person as something that should be deserved, rather than being able to portray unfortunate things happening to someone that are not deserved and then having the audience grapple with it.
Which is kind of a childish way of viewing the world.
Exactly.
It's an extremely childish way of viewing the world. But maybe that's because we've raised
good things happen to good guys and bad things happen to bad guys, and that's the only thing that we can tolerate watching.
We've raised kids to believe that Marvel is the real world, so maybe that's why things are the way they are.
It's one or the other. Either they paint the world that way or they paint it as like bad things only happen to good people because
tax breaks.
Yeah.
Why don't girls choose the nice guy?
maybe nothing has done more damage to an entire generation of men than to think that just quietly looking at a girl like with a face like a painful facial expression when she's not looking at you and expecting that to be the thing that makes her fall in love with you has probably done more damage to men than anything these days. Like,
or also like telling girls that they should be mean to men and then they'll like them. That's in so many movies.
And not just that, but just the fact that like the guy who's like the guy like friend zoned really hard like in those movies and then like it always works out at the end, but that's not once you're there, my friend. You stay there, and you're
unless you change.
He has to change.
Yeah, he has to change.
But also they've shown a stupid version of what it means to be. They always portray like the type of guy that she likes as an asshole, right? But that's not
You have to have something to offer.
Which almost makes the women in that situation look stupid anyway. It makes everyone in the plot look stupid,
but she gets
and
to be
you
the
can't
victim
believe
there.
it.
She gets to be the victim there because the guy's mean.
But you can also see how like she's getting like she's the cause of her own self-destruction, and you don't understand why she's so stupid. When I don't think
I've been here all along.
It makes her look stupid and makes him look like a desperate puppy.
And then people think
like
that that's
all of
actually
these
what
tropes
women
just are so boring
and damaging. I not damaging, but like create a ridiculous view of what actual relationships are like between men and women.
Point being, movies and TV actually do influence how people behave and their opinions about serious issues.
Yep.
And I don't know what we can do to mitigate that
I
other than taking it away.
Would there even be an accurate representation that they would put on film or on TV that would be an accurate representation of how like a well-adjusted couple gets together?
Think of one?
It happens on
Can you think
accident
of one?
sometimes.
I mean, I can think of examples in shows that I've watched that have like really, really good relationships. In White Collar, Peter Burke is married to Elizabeth, and they have like it's very clear that the relationship was done by a couple that was actually whoever had it had either had well-adjusted parents or worked or was in a well-adjusted relationship, and it's done really well. But I think there's examples of that, but it's not the norm, and it's certainly that's a different genre than the kid movies where the guy's like, I feel always it's so embarrassing that the whole generation has been brought up to believe that the guy has to be tepid and the opposite of any type of alpha personality type to be attractive to a woman in the long run.
Do you think that the
Wuthering Heights
storyline
basically about this entire subject?
What?
Am I wrong?
Wait, what?
Wuthering Heights isn't essentially this entire theory played out?
Well, it's one of those things where I always wonder, like, because that's not how it was. It was never like that in the real world to me either. I never saw any girls that were attracted to tepid and timid. Not really.
Like, or if they are, then that means they're bad people.
Likely, like they had all the power in the
aim to take
relationship.
advantage of that. Do you think the storyline of Jim and Pam in The Office kind of propagates the same tropes?
Yep.
Because a lot of people really love that one and think that it's more realistic, but
I just
I don't know.
I mean, Hollywood doesn't know how to human very well, so they don't.
They know how to reptile.
Yeah, they don't.
Maybe that's how reptiles mate.
It doesn't work. So it's bad stuff.
Lane said, "Remove Casino Planet, and you got an argument. It was fun to watch. Love you guys. Hat team for the win. Missed the past few shows. Enjoy the weekend, everyone."
And a good weekend to you, sir.
What was the argument he was talking about?
The Last Jedi. Hear.
Okay. Waffle Sensei said, requesting this to be said in guttural Orcish Australian.
Is that the official name for it? Guttural Orcish Australian.
I'm a little teapot short and stout. Oh, no.
Better just start from the beginning.
I don't know if I can do it.
You can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
I'm a little teapot short and stout. Here is my handle. Here is my spout.
The spout was really good.
When I get all steamed up, hear me shout. Tip me over and pour me out.
That is going to be a fantastic...
It wasn't very orcish, but I think that they did such human voices for the orcs this time that it's just an Australian guy. That's why I find it so funny.
Do you understand how good that's going to be in Mary No Context? I'm a little teapot. Short and stout.
Read me my rights.
Oh, people won't even like that. That's
our joke.
That's our joke.
Carnell said, ejecto dinero, cuz.
We need to have like an image of, what's his name? From Fast and the Furious. Tyrese Gibson hitting the button as that gets said. Ejecto dinero, cuz.
Bobcat said, if you want to talk about Hollywood cults, you cannot forget about Charles Manson.
Yep. Correct.
Dane Font said...
Who? Dave Font.
I mean, it reminds me of this guy I know.
Fast and the Furious movie.
What?
Never saw one.
Oh, my... Now you really are banned. Out of here.
We've got another one to...
The first one is an objectively excellent movie.
It's a John Singleton movie, right?
No.
No, it's not?
No. I don't believe so.
We've got another one to talk about on Tuesday with Hannah Claire.
Yes. The sequel.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Dane said, I'm down to make broads a thing again, Brett.
Yeah, we're bringing that term back.
Johnny Derp sent $2 with no message.
Rob
Thank
Cohen.
you.
Rob Cohen, yep.
1,000 Foot Deep End said, here's $5 towards the Brett Therapy Fund for having to watch commercials.
It's going to be rough, guys. It's going to be rough. The other night...
Too Fast, Too Furious is John Singleton.
Yes. Okay. The other night, I accidentally let a...
Thanks, Jamie.
The other night, I let a commercial play by accident, and I almost had it.
Did you spontaneously combust?
I nearly convulsed. I mean,
you start having a seizure.
Basically,
if you start
There's a cream for that.
smelling oranges or whatever.
It's like I'm seeing sounds. Yeah.
Johnny Derp said, should have cast Lupita Nyong'o.
That's the one I was laughing at.
How do you say that?
Lupita Nyong'o?
Nyong'o as Amber Heard. Also, I'm more likely to send super chats with no message after 420.
That makes perfect sense. Also, here's Lupita Nyong'o. Perfect. Yeah, if this was a Netflix adaptation, that would be dead on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's not a Netflix adaptation, so can't go there. Who would they cast as Johnny Depp then? Daniel Kaluuya?
Ooh. Yeah. No.
Who would they cast?
I mean, you got to go...
You know more TV actors than
Taye Diggs.
Me.
Taye Diggs.
Nailed it.
Yep.
You're done.
There we go. I got this.
You would be an excellent casting director.
I would love to be a cast. That's what I would love to do.
How's that?
I made a game once in college called Casting Call, and it was about that very subject.
I had a game called Casting Couch. It was a little bit different.
Whoa.
Under the half pipe.
Yeah.
How is that list coming along, by the way?
What I think I'm going to start doing.
Maybe ready to publish.
What I think I'm going to start doing is I'm going to keep it up here at all times.
Okay.
And it will remind me to look at certain things, and better new examples will come to my mind throughout but it's about 70 shows long now.
We're going to have a top 100?
Probably at some point. What I've noticed though is like a lot of them's like people would have to know beforehand that it's like these aren't like the 100 best shows start to finish. These are ones where I believe there's at least a couple of good seasons worth watching. Some of them so few, like I make a note like this show but only this season. So it's not like an overall list of the best shows, but it's ones where I think that there's enough good stuff there to invest your time.
All right.
But that also could be because I'm extremely ADHD and I can just leave off at like season 3. Like I never watch a show start to finish. I bounce back and forth and eventually get to the end.
That's so infuriating.
From a bunch, not from episodes. I'm saying I'll watch 10 episodes of a show, put on another show, watch 10 episodes of that,
forget,
come back,
and
I don't forget.
Don't feel like if you don't feel the urgency to know what happens next.
But I already know what's happening next. Great. I've seen it 100 times, so I don't.
But
need
if you're watching something for the first time,
then I watch it through.
Yeah.
Then I watch it through.
1,000 Foot Deep End said, I'm down with Hannah Claire to bring back wench.
So we got to bring back broads and wench.
Wenches and chicks.
Birds.
The wench, broad wench sounds like a TV show, like Broadchurch. Broad wench. We'll make that show starring David Tennant.
Yeah.
And Jodie Whittaker. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic. Did you see the American version? Grace Point.
Yep, I did.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I liked.
Broadchurch is better,
yes,
objectively. But Grace Point, I saw Grace Point first, so I was like, this isn't bad. Although I didn't like Anna Gunn in it. I don't.
She's hit and miss.
Yeah.
She's kind of like whoever that lady was from The Shield. I always forget her name. But I also recommend Shetland if you liked Shetland if you like Broadchurch.
You like Disa and Duran.
I'm a Luther man myself.
I love. Well, it's this is a little bit newer than that. This one's but it's very Irish and very like.
That was Scottish.
Or Scottish, one of the two. Wherever Shetland is.
Are any of those shows like Wallander good or?
Okay. Wallander's on that list, but there's parentheses around it and says bring Prozac because watching Wallander is one of the most depressing things you can do. And it's not even that depressing of a show. It's just gray and dark and he's just depressing. At least Luther is like angry.
Yeah.
Like it's not the same thing.
It's a colorful show in terms of characters.
Yes.
And situations. Yeah, I understand that.
Also,
awesome.
We need like there's a great example of a great female character, the Alice character from Luther.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And a lunatic.
Yeah. Oh, bonkers.
Yeah.
Bonkers.
And may have ruined me for other women.
All right. Oh, dude, Wesley, thank you so much.
What?
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh.
For being our guest, of course.
Yes. Let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter if you look hard enough. You can find me on Instagram if you look hard enough. And you can find me an address under the half pipe on Cast Castle.
perfect. He's like, he doesn't want to make it easy on you. He's like,
that's a great selling point. I'm sure they're just dying to see you in a dress.
Mary's
Many
like,
such cases.
Mary's like, I have to see this one.
Great.
Mary, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Mary Archived, and whenever I post articles on timcast.com, I promote them there.
Still not used to Mary Archived. I'm really not. Guys, if you want to follow me on Instagram at Brett Dasovic, also for the show, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. We are also on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify. What? Everybody here's like,
I started sympathetic stretching because Wesley started stretching, okay?
Everyone's making this so difficult. Hey, we're also on social media, Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We're going to get out of here for the weekend. We'll see you on Monday, guys. Bye.
See ya. Bye.